All right, coming to you live from the PDA broadcast. We got Vic, J. Dot, your host Adam, and all you guys out there watching and listening. We appreciate y'all turning into the show today. We got a few good hot topics to go over, and a new movie that I think most people have probably seen, certainly are aware of. So we'll get to that at the end of the show. I'm Adam, your host. We got Victor to the side of me. I think that's accurate. I know it switches up, but I don't think the side and bottom thing switches depending on who's watching.
Yeah.
So I think he's either over there or over there. And then we got my boy Dot down here somewhere. We're
What's going on?
gonna get started today. At the beginning of every show, I like to warn everybody: if you don't like listening to people talk about stuff you disagree with, this is probably not the show for you. If you're on the fence about it, watch. Hopefully, we can change your mind because that's kind of the purpose of the show. Um, for today, we're going to be hitting up three topics. We're going to be talking about um, the escalating violence towards Chinese people in this country, which is a shame. We're going to be talking about something that I'll admit is somewhat new to me, NFTs. And we're going to be talking about, I'm actually blanking on the third topic. That's kind of sad. What was the other one?
Schools opening.
Schools opening during the coronavirus, with everything that's going on and what everybody thinks about that. That's a big one for me. I can't believe that's the one I blinked on. And then for the movie at the end of the show, we're going to be talking about coming to America, right? Isn't that what is coming to America?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yeah, play on words, play on
right,
numbers, I
right,
guess.
right, right, right. I thought it was back to America, but it's not, right? It's coming to America.
Correct.
Yeah,
Cute.
it's coming to
It's a
America.
good way to do it. Yeah, it's a good way to do it. Same name, but just a little from word to number mash up there. Big fan of the original movie. All right, so we'll do that. I'm gonna just kind of randomly pick out the topics today, which ones we're gonna, which order we're gonna do them, and I don't think they particularly matter. Why don't we start it off with something light? NFTs. Somebody broached the topic. We normally pick these things at the end of the show, but we ran so late last week, we didn't really want to take the time to do it. I was getting yelled at that my partner needed my wife needed her computer because I use her computer to do the podcast, as sad as that is, and she needed access to it and was ready for me to go play with my kids. So I know I was in a hurry to get off. So normally we pick them, but we didn't do that this week. So we just kind of picked them throughout the week. This was one that was texted to me I'd never heard of. It's totally crazy to me. Victor, you want to give us your 2 minutes on NFTs?
Um, absolutely, absolutely. So I have no idea what an NFT is. It's a currency used that you can exchange for something that's exactly the same, is what I understand, and it's similar to bitcoins, except
Well,
like,
I'll tell you what. Let me go first.
thank
Um,
God.
yeah, and then y'all can weigh in independently for a few seconds. So NFTs are really just it's the and I'll take that back. I think what we're talking about is non NFTs, right? NFTs are an exchangeable currency that's not unique in any way, right? $100 bill would be an NFT. Bitcoin would be an NFT. If you have one Bitcoin or if you have another Bitcoin, it doesn't matter, right? It has the same value. They're exactly the same. It does, nobody cares which Bitcoin or dollar bill that they have, right? Non NFTs are things worth money that are unique, that there are not more than one of. And so like art would be an NFT, right? A non NFT, I apologize.
No, I think
And
I think you had it the first time. The actual in NFT
It's
is
non.
non
It's a
non
fungible token. Fungible token.
non fungible
Non.
token.
So what it describes is it allows you
oh, that's right.
to sell, I guess, or put a price on your art or your work. So, for example, I have a work of art. I could sell it to Adam. Adam now owns that, and it's
Yeah,
a
no,
you can mark it.
yeah.
It's like a certificate for it. He could sell it to Victor, or versus how things normally are with the way the internet is. I have a work of art. Adam purchased it. I also sell it to Victor, who has the original. If I just show y'all copies.
Right. So, okay, I don't, now
So
I don't
so
even remember what
the
order I
value
put it
of it,
in, but
I think.
NFTs
Right.
are the ones that are all the same, and
Not
non-NFTs.
FTs, I guess.
Fungible
Non-NFTs are the
tokens.
ones that are original, and NFTs are the ones that are all the same. NFTs are assets. They can be replaced or exchanged with another identical one of the same value, whereas non-NFTs, non-fungible tokens, are pieces of digital content um, that are unique, like digital artwork and so forth.
I'm glad we know what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah. Wikipedia definition. Non-fungible, which can be represented in unique digital item like art. An NFT is a token, but unlike such as Bitcoin and many networks, NFTs are not mutually interchangeable. Now that I think, all right, maybe I got it backwards again. Man, it seems like it seems like every time I read this, the first part of the paragraph says one thing and the second part of the paragraph literally says the opposite.
Let's see. So every NFT is unique. So they're different each time. NFTs are completely different. Each NFT is different.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
NFTs are unique. Non NFTs are like Bitcoin
Right.
or,
Yeah. Okay.
and I don't know, some of these say digital, but I don't know that it necessarily has to be digital. Anyways, I mean, I think the to me the unique part of this story is the digital artwork that people are trying to turn into, like, I wouldn't say legitimate art because it's always been legitimate art. I mean, anytime somebody expresses himself as legitimate, but trying to turn it into like a legitimate, like, current, mark of value, like a painting would be or a sculpture would be. The only problem is you don't actually own anything unique. You just own the rights to the uniqueness of it, because even what you're getting is a digital copy. I mean, the second it's sent to you, it's a digital copy. You're not, you know what I mean? Like, you're not taking home the guy's
Well,
screen that it was painted on. You're only
that's the
owning
thing.
the
You get
rights
it
to
from
it.
the. That's the thing. You get it from the artist. You actually get a like if you go to an art show, it's a print. It's act from that artist. You're getting a legitimate version of that versus just grabbing that image off the internet.
Yeah, I
It
don't think
has a
there's
value to it.
there's nothing different to the one you grab off the internet and the one that's sent to you, other than
It
while
typically
you,
comes with other stuff. It comes with
well,
other stuff. You get
it
like,
comes
you know,
with ownership
authenticity.
of the
Right.
item, right? So
That's what it is.
what they'll say on the internet is, you can own a very famous painting, but the artist can still sell prints of that painting, and the difference is you own the original and they own the prints. But in that case, you actually do own the original and they own prints. Like, you own the the
I think that
canvas
may
that
be
somebody
different.
put the paint on, whereas with this, everybody, the artist who saves it on their computer and everybody else has the exact same version of it, right? The only difference is you own the
I don't
rights
think
to it.
so.
It is. I mean, how could
I
it
think what it
possibly?
is
The way technology works, dot there. I mean, like, there's What, you have the original file that he saved? I mean, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be the same fucking thing. It's not going to be like whether.
That's the point of it. That's the point of it. So a perfect example is the Mona Lisa, right?
That's okay.
You
Go
can
ahead. Go ahead.
you can there with the Mona Lisa there is allegedly like 2 or 3 different renditions of it that his apprentice actually had, which the backstory behind that is that they actually think his apprentice is the model sit in for the Mona Lisa. So there's actual other paintings of the Mona Lisa that he did. The most famous one technically may not be the one that he originally did, may be the one his apprentice did, which may may or may not have been his, right?
Yeah. So what does that have to do with,
So
with the
when you
digital
have
artwork?
well, here's the thing.
That is an
These are
interesting
actually
story, but
artworks that were created. These are artworks that were created by the artist.
so are the
You're
copies.
actually getting this. Well, the copies, I can go take a screenshot, a picture of the Mona Lisa, paint it out at FedEx or something, and now
But
I have a
the
painting of the
difference
Mona Lisa.
between that is
Not
the
the same.
difference between what you have and what the owner is he has an actual physical painting with a canvas and paint on it, and you have a picture. Whereas with digital art, everybody
Right.
has a picture
So there.
of the thing, and it's not
So
any
hold
different.
on.
Nobody's
Hold
is
on. Stop
better.
right there.
Nobody's like more
With
realism.
digital
One,
art,
you can't stand there and
listen.
physically.
Hold
You
on.
can't
Hold
like
on.
have
Hold on.
people over and go,
Let's
look what
touch
I
that
have that
point.
nobody else
Let's touch
has.
that point.
All right, go ahead.
With digital art, it's allowing it to have that foundation, the same as a physical piece of art you have. That's what it does.
Right.
It gives basis to digital art in the same way you have
Yes.
a physical piece of artwork.
And
That's
from an
what that's
artist
literally what
standpoint, I can completely understand why they love the idea of this. As
right.
somebody looking at it from the perspective of somebody who's supposed to pay a fuck ton of money for something
Right.
that's going to look exactly the same on my computer if I don't spend any fucking money at all, that's a real hard argument for you. Like that's a great sales
Well,
pitch for you to
okay.
tell me why I should pay. And I mean, some of this shit is selling for like $60 million,
Right.
and I can have
Right.
the
And the
exact
reason
same copy for free.
right, but you actually have the paperwork that shows you own it, so now it has
Yes.
value.
Yes.
Now, so and that's why I utilize the Mona Lisa, because in this day and age, we have everything is digital. That's the whole point, is actually giving authenticity to digital work.
Look,
Just
there's
because
other.
it's not actual paint, just because it's not a physical piece of paint that you can touch and feel and pick, you know what I'm saying? That does not
It's
negate
not.
the
To me, it's not even that
authenticity of
it's
it from the
physical.
artist.
It's the difference. Like if I'm rich, the reason why I'm going to spend the money is because I, unlike anybody else, can say you can come to my museum or my house or whatever and see this thing that I
Right.
have that nobody else has.
Right.
You can't do that with digital art. Like literally everybody can have the exact
Well,
same thing, not close to it, not a print, not a picture, but literally the exact same fucking thing I have that I had to spend $60 million for. And do you even complete? I mean, like
right.
the artists get to retain the rights to sell prints and everything. So it's not like you even own the exclusive rights to it. You just get to say that I paid for it.
You
Like that's
do for that one. So let me explain it to you. When you get works of art from an artist, they may have done 30 pieces, right? So yours has one of 30 or number 730, whatever it falls in that category of 30 pieces that they've done, right? This gives that to an artist just on a digital platform, whether he uses a paintbrush or he uses a mouse. Either way it goes, it's a creation from that artist.
sure it is.
That's what this does.
Look, I'm not.
It gives it, so I can take a picture. I can go to your museum, take a picture of the Mona Lisa with a high definition camera, go into Photoshop, out the wall and frame and everything, repaint it, stick it on my wall. Now I have the Mona Lisa also.
Except for a lot of issues there. One is you can't paint the Mona Lisa, and almost nobody can exactly the way it's been
Right,
printed.
but that's not
And it's
that's not
not
my
a piece of
point.
history that's
My
like hung on
point
exclusive
is
places and been through all this amazing shit like the Mona
that's not
Lisa
my
has.
point. That's not my point. That's not my point. You're
Okay.
adding it to that. The point is what we're looking. There might be a delay. The point is,
You're
what
right.
we're looking at, digital work versus manual work. Either way, or it's still manual work. Only create these works of art
I'm not suggesting that
on a
it's
computer.
less of a piece of art because they did it digitally. It isn't. I tried to start off by saying that. I
Right,
mean,
right,
there's
right,
anything less
right. So
impressive
what?
by somebody doing digital art that's amazing than somebody
I'm not
doing
talking about
physical
the.
art
I'm
that's
not talking about the
amazing.
impressiveness of it. I'm not talking about the
Okay.
impressiveness of it. What
Okay.
what I'm saying is that value to something that was physically painted on a media, a source of media, which is paint, canvas. Digital is still a source of media,
It is.
right? Pen and paper, a source of media. Watercolor, source of media. Sculptures, a physical source of media. It's just different forms of media. When you take art, it's just different forms of media. What this does is it now gives a new form of media a way to have a base of value. Because yes, you can. I can take a download another copy. Somebody can screenshot it and download another copy of that. That's no different than me coming to your house, taking a picture of it,
It is very
scanning it or
different.
saving on.
It is still very different because what you're going to have isn't going to be what I have. A digital copy is the exact same fucking thing. It's literally, in fact,
No,
yeah, because here again, going back to the conversation we never had, which is when you look at this from a technical standpoint,
here's
the
why.
version, I'm not done now.
Right, I
The
can do
version
that.
that you have is a copy, right? It is a copy because the only way they could give it to you would be to save it and give it to you, which means you took the copy, like unless they gave you the computer that they created it on, in order for you to take it and put it on your computer, you had to have a copy, which means now you have the exact same shit as everybody else has because
No.
technologically that's the only possibility. Everybody has a copy of what the person original. As soon as that motherfucker hit the save button, everything after that is a copy. Digital, I mean, like from a technical
So
standpoint,
so
like unless he
here's
cut out
that's
his
not the
fucking
way
hard
digital files.
drive.
It's not the way digital. That's not the way digital files work. It's not the way they work. You can lose. You can lose quality transporting digital
You
files
can, but you don't have to.
on
It
the
depends
internet.
on how you copy it. That's not that.
No.
It's not like
So
making a
that's one factor.
physical copy of a picture.
So that's one factor. That's one factor. I know this because I'm a grad. Send people files all the time. And I can see the difference in the file that they upload on the internet versus the original file
Well,
that I
I mean,
have.
all
There's a
that
quality
depends on what quality they upload it and save it and transfer it at. But
and
you
what site and how the site actually processes that image.
even then, okay, I don't agree with what you're saying, but for argument's sake, let's say there's this extremely almost incomparable difference between what you get and let's just say like after thousands of copies it gets degraded, right? That still means a
Give you the number.
shit ton of people have pretty damn close to the same thing. And what you're describing of going in and taking a picture of it and printing that out, the differences there are not minute. They're massively fucking different. I mean, that's a huge difference between what you're talking about and the difference
To
between what these
the
digital
eye
copies would be.
right,
And
right.
look at some of the art that they're selling. It's not
But
even
to,
high quality
that's to
enough
the
for you to
untrained
be
eye.
able to
That's
see the
to
difference because this isn't like
that's
really
to the
high
untrained.
definition imagery. These are like cartoon pictures. You're not, nobody's telling the difference between those cartoon pictures after 8, 10,
So
12 copies of it.
I'll give you an example. I'll give you a perfect example, right? I'll give you a perfect example. And it's to the untrained eye. A trained artist eye will know the difference.
All
So
right.
here's a consumer example. You have a high definition TV, right?
Yeah,
Unless your image is broadcasted in high definition, you're not going to see it in true HD, for one.
sure. Correct. Right.
If it's not captured
In high
in high
definition. And
definition.
even if I have a high definition
So
TV, I'm not going to see that. Yes,
you
correct.
see these steps?
Right.
Right. So you can, the TV technically is HD. The TV is technically HD. The station will broadcast it but if it was not captured from the recording device, captured in HD, no matter what the station broadcasts, it's still not the format of, it's still not the color quality and depth of
That's true.
a
And if these
true
artists were
HD.
saying like, I
Simplistic.
captured it
And
and
this is the
sent it to the
same
guy who
concept.
bought it in high definition and then went and sold copies in a much lower definition, then maybe there'd be some legitimacy to this argument. That's not what they're doing.
It's not the same. It's not the same
they're not doing
concept.
that.
It's not you have to know the way art works. You have to know the
Okay.
way art works.
All right. My
I have
mom is
one
an
file.
artist. I grew up in the art world, but tell me how art
That's what I'm
works.
telling you. I do graphic design right now, literally working on stuff right now. Multiple pieces of
I,
work.
like grew up going to
Literally
museums
just
and talking to artists that grew up in
photo
art
shoot
school.
yesterday.
Like,
What
not saying
I'm
you don't know
I'm
about
talking
art.
about
I'm just
digital
saying
art.
you're
I'm
not
talking
the
about
only
digital
one
art.
who does.
I'm talking about digital art. This is literally what I've been doing since the year 2000.
Okay.
Literally since 2000, I'm
Okay.
this is what I do, bro.
Stop telling us how much you know and tell us why that matters.
What I'm explaining to you is that if I have an original file in layers, an original piece of work, go in to that file. Let's say I have a picture of an apple that I created. I can turn the apple, save it, turn the apple
That's
back.
not what they're giving these people. They're not giving them. They're giving them the one image. They're not giving. No, they're not. They're not giving them the ability to go in and look at the layers and change the perspective of it.
I didn't say they were. Let me finish. What I'm saying is I'm saving that file and giving you that file. I'm saving that file and I'm giving Victor that file. It is still the original file that I'm saving down into a format that you can have and Victor can have.
Okay.
That's once you have that file, you have the certificate of authenticity from me, the artist. You put that on the internet, Chris or somebody goes and downloads that image, you upload it. The image that he downloaded, you put it next to the one that you have is not going to be the same quality. Period.
Okay. I mean, for what it's worth, on all the stuff I read up on, nobody claiming the legitimacy of this, nobody's argument was the people who get copies are going to have some degraded form of the image, and that's why it's worth you spending $60 million. I mean, the argument is that it's the ownership of the artwork that is why you're willing to spend the money.
Which is the same way as art.
Except it's not, because you do physically have. It's not just
one of the ones at an art show in Miami.
Uh-huh.
There was an art show in Miami. Dude just stuck a banana on the wall, sold for like a couple thousand, like $500,000 or maybe $1 million.
Right,
it's just a fucking banana on the wall.
And as fucking ridiculous as it is for somebody to buy that and think it's worth money, they do still own it. They get to decide whether to hang it in their house or lend it to a museum or stick it in a fucking vault, and it's theirs. Like that physical thing is theirs. And
go to HEB. I can go to HEB and grab another banana and stick it on the wall. It doesn't make it the same piece of art.
What's wrong with the ownership of digital art? I don't understand your argument, Adam.
I think that's the argument, Vic.
My argument is that, first of all, let me back up to this idea that this is the way you bring value to digital art, because it's not the only way to bring value to digital art. And up until now, digital art hasn't had no value. In fact, in a lot of cases, it's been extremely valuable. People hire you, or they see something that you like and they use it in a campaign ad or on their website or whatever. And there's tons of way to monetize digital art other than as a collectible, which is what we're talking about now. Now we're talking about somebody coming by and saying, I don't want to just use your art because it's amazing. And if I put it as a backdrop on such and such, people are going to go to my site more, people are going to buy more of my shit, etc. Right? There's tons of way to monetize art other than collectability. What we're talking about here is monetizing the collectability of digital art. And what I'm saying is, unlike everything else prior to digital art, when you're collecting it, you actually own the physical thing that you can choose to keep on your bedside table or in your living room. It's yours, right? This is something that you just own the rights to. And not even in most cases completely own the rights to, because the artists still have the right to make copies of it and sell them. Now, the difference is when people are making copies, prints of a painting, it's not an actual painting. There's no physical paint on a canvas. It's a printout on a photography, like a piece of paper. It's flat. There's no, it's not an actual painting. It's not the thing that the amazing artist that everybody loves so much literally had on a, in their house and was literally putting paint on, right? It's not a baseball that the actual guy that hit the ball physically hit and held in his hand and signed.
When you invest in art, you know this, you're not just investing in the canvas and the paint. You're actually investing in the artist.
In the value of the art. And what I'm saying is a big part of the value in collecting something is being able to sell it to other people that want to be the only person who can own it. And you can't do that here.
If you're just going to talk over me, you're investing.
I think there's a delay in us talking. I think that's the difference.
Yeah,
there's a delay in us talking because we're listening and
investing in the artist. You're investing in that person and the art that they're putting out all over the world, and also that they're good people relatively, and they're not going to screw you by doing other things. And that's one of the things about this is when you invest in this.
I don't agree with that.
Digital art. This digital art.
Let me touch in.
I don't agree that millionaires buying art aren't buying it because of its resale value.
So let me touch.
But they're investing not only in the art but also the artist. If the
maybe some are, a lot of them are buying it because they think it's worth a lot, and they're owning something of a whole lot of value, monetized value. Not I just want to give this artist an opportunity to make more art. I don't think that's the majority of investors.
That's based on that's what I'm saying. So you have to be an art collector. You have to be a part of that world. Right.
And so $60 million. There's an artist out there that needs $60 million in order to do their art. That's why
doesn't matter what
it does, based on the premise that he's setting, that you're investing in the artist's ability to make more art. Nobody needs $60 million to make more art.
That's not.
Yes, there probably is people. That need $60 million
so let me
to make art.
Hold on. No, hold on. Check it out. So I think you're adding to something not there based on your perspective and opinion, right? So
basing it based on what I've seen
created by someone.
People that buy and collect art.
If you got Beats by Dre headsets,
not by what I want to do.
Beats by Dre headphones. Look at the Wu-Tang album.
Right.
Look at what Nipsey Hussle did. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and everybody said the same thing about the album. The guy who bought that album, he's the only person who has the copy of it.
It doesn't matter.
You can't even hear that. He's the only one who's heard the song. It's not out on the internet. You can't download it. He's the only person who has that version of the song.
Right. So therefore, technically not. Record. They're performing the record in his house every time you hit play.
Right, but he still has.
So when you have physical,
not saying that that's what it is. Nobody's saying that when you buy a painting, you have the painter in your room painting it. You have the painting that he painted, and nobody else does. And nobody else does.
Value.
Therefore, you have the vocals recorded onto digital media,
and nobody else does. And nobody else does. And that's the difference. That's what I'm trying to say. That even if I contend, even if there's some legitimacy to what y'all are saying, none of y'all are accepting the fact that with every other thing that people collect, they get the thing. Like this, you can't do that. You don't get the thing. That's always been true with collectible. You get the thing.
Hold on. So look at.
I really can't believe. Like I'm shocked that I'm having this big of a problem explaining to people why when you collect something, you actually want the thing.
You're not having a problem explaining to people. You're having a problem with other people's
them understanding it.
Look at why. Look at. I mean, we understand it. We completely understand it. You just can't understand what we're saying.
I understand what you're saying. I don't agree with it.
So
there's a difference.
A different example as to why. Why do you think they say don't take cameras into comedy shows? Remember back in the day when you watched, what was the episode of What's Happening with Rerun,
That's
where they got
yeah,
caught
it's
legging the BGs
because
or
of what
something, and
I'm
had the
talking about,
cassette
which is
tape?
because
It's
if
not
everybody can hear the
right.
shit that you sell tickets to, that normally people have to show up and spend money to watch live, instead
Right.
everybody can watch, there's no value to it anymore. You're making my point.
No, I'm making your.
That's why people
I'm
don't
making
want
my point
people
to
recording the shit and
explain to
putting it
you
out there, because then it's not original anymore.
why digital art, why digital art, the price of the value from the is versus I can just grab it
I'm
offline.
I'm
Why
not
should there be
saying that there
value
isn't
when I can just
value
grab?
to
I
digital
can.
art.
Why
I'm
should I pay
saying,
$6 million for something that I can get offline? That Vic got a copy, I got a copy. You're
right.
understanding why? Because this is something from the artist that the artist created. So let's say, look at MC Escher created a lot of popular art with his hands, self-drawing things like that. Look at Picasso. Look at all these artists. They're not around today to have these pieces of art. People can mimic their style.
That's so
You
much
can
different
learn.
than
You
what you're
can
talking
learn.
about. Like forgeries
I'm
are
trying to have to
different.
explain it to you on layman's terms.
But you're it's a
I'm
false
saying an artist
argument. It's not me
inspiration.
not
An artist
understanding it.
inspiration.
It's a false argument. There's a difference between a copy. There's a difference between a recreation. There's a difference between a fake and the actual thing.
I get that. I get that. So what part don't you understand?
That there isn't a difference between what I get to buy for
What
$60 million
part don't
and
you?
what hundreds and thousands of other
Hey, look, if
people
you got,
get to have
look, put
as
it like
well.
this. Put it like this.
Wait,
If I
so
got
you're
$60
assuming
million
that the artist is
that
gonna
I could
sell a whole
blow,
shitload of them.
if I got,
What am I assuming?
they
So
can do
you're
what they want.
assuming the artist is gonna sell a shitload of them, or what?
He doesn't even need to. Once it's on the internet, they don't even have to sell it.
Well, that's
Like,
not
it's
true.
out there. Everybody
No,
can have it.
That's not true. It actually goes through a process before it becomes a fungible whatever. It has what's called a blockchain attached to it.
That's
that
What
actually
what's
records.
there? Once you have an
Right.
image on the internet, you can copy it and
So
send as
No,
many
that's not
times as you
true.
want to.
That's not true.
What's going to keep me from doing
not-
it?
that's-
Exactly.
Thank you,
Have you ever seen the ones with like
Blockchain.
the what is it, like
Blockchain.
a watermark on it? Where you
There are
can't,
there
A form.
not that difficult ways to get around that.
but you can tell it's from the original.
So
You
that's
can
where
tell
he's
it's from the
teetering back
original
and
if you
forth,
can do
Victor.
that.
And yes, they are going to sell. I mean, read the articles. All of these artists have kept the rights to reproduce and sell the image as many times as they want to.
You're right,
Adam,
they can. But again,
Adam,
that's one of the things you're investing in the
Adam.
artist.
But with a
Adam,
print, that's the
is it
thing.
first?
With a print to a painting, I don't care how many prints they sell, because it's not the same thing that I own. They could sell 1 billion of them. It's not going to change the value of my original.
That's
right,
what
and that's what I'm saying is you have to
he
actually
does. That
invest in-
blockchain
I mean, don't get your
gives you
shit from
that
some
authenticity
idiot.
where you can track that blockchain throughout the
But
course of
who
time.
cares? I mean, that's the thing is
Right there. Who cares? So
exactly
that's
why
what I'm saying.
if it looks exactly the same,
Looks
nobody
the
is
same
going
and
to
being the
care
same
about the
intrinsic
fact that
original.
I
Look
spent
the same and
$60
being
million
the same.
and you didn't. I'm more special than you are. Like,
Well, it ain't tricking if you got it. It ain't tricking if you got
I mean,
it.
the fact that y'all don't think there is any difference in the first collectible thing that you don't get the thing, that there's literally no difference between those two things. I mean, to me, it's like you're just refusing to see the thing staring you right in the face.
Digital copy. They can send you a digital copy, a digital file, digital
It's
version.
not the
copy.
same thing.
I hate to use the word copy with you because you like to play on words.
Why is it? If I'm just completely not understanding what y'all are saying, then why is it that if you read anything about this on the internet, everybody's saying the same shit I am? Only it's just because I don't understand what you guys are saying. Me and 90% of the world's population just don't understand the argument you're making. Like,
90%
come on.
of the population. I doubt the 90%.
I'm not.
I guess understand what's going
I'm not.
on.
I understand what you're saying. I'll admit that what you're saying is true. I still don't think it doesn't take away from the fact that this is different than owning the baseball that King Griffey hits out of the park who signs it. Like, you're telling me that's the same thing as owning a digital copy of something? Like, you get to own the piece of history that won the World Series or a copy of something somebody drew, and those are completely the same thing. When you own a painting,
you're devaluing. You're devaluing something digital in placing the reference to something physical.
Yes, because physics in the physical, you can smell the fucking paint on the painting. You can walk around it. You can look at it from different angles and see the texture of the item. You can't do any of that shit with a digital copy. How is that not different?
It only because it only exists digital. It doesn't exist in the physical.
Right, which is why I wouldn't spend $60 million
Giving a value to
for
something
it.
that only exists. If you read, then do it. It only
Why?
exists
I can get the same thing without
digital.
spending $60 million and have the exact same experience with it and keep $60 million.
God from?
What?
You don't get that answer.
What? You broke up a little bit.
I say it's like you believe in God, asking God, hey, where are you from? You don't get that answer. They're giving value to something digital. It doesn't.
But the thing has value already. Again, to suggest that only if you can collect it can it have value is not true. Things can have value without being collected. Lots of things have value. I go to work every day. There's value to that. Nobody's collecting it, but I still get paid for it. Like you get paid for all kinds of shit that aren't collectibles.
Because you put value to that. Then there's people without a job living freely off the grid. Here's
the punch a part of the argument that y'all keep just completely running away from and pretending that it doesn't exist, right? It's not that I put value to it. It's that lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of people put value to it, which means that not only can I buy it for $60 million, but there's a really good chance I'm going to be able to sell it for pretty close to that. Or if I hold on to it long enough, even more, because there's all kinds of people that understand the value of owning the one thing. Now, this is saying that everybody's going to accept the premise that owning this digital copy that lots of other people can have a copy of that's pretty much the exact same copy, only for $60 million, I get to say I own the rights to it. And that is going to be as valuable to me as actually owning a physical painting would be. And
you're putting understanding.
I'm explaining how collectibles work, and you're suggesting we should just ignore how collectibles work because it makes sense to you. So why should we care how it's worked this whole time?
That's not how you stated is not how collectibles work, and that's obvious based on your point.
How do collectibles? Then break it down for me, Dot. How do collectibles work?
Adam, it's not a way to. You can have 40. You have 40 versions of something. It's a collectible. The value on it is
right. The fact there's 40 of them makes them less valuable than there being only one.
Yes.
Right. Any collectible that there's one of is more valuable than there's one when there's two or three or four. Right. This one, there's a fuck ton of copies.
All right. So watch this. Right. A fuck ton of copies were made of Grand Theft Auto, the Black Label.
Okay. Can you buy one? Is somebody selling one for $60 million?
You can't buy them anymore because the mod allows you to have pornography if you rent it on the PC. So or a stable version of San Andreas. Maybe.
Okay, make the point.
Millions were sold.
Okay.
Fuck ton of them were sold. I actually bought two of them back in the day. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
They don't make them anymore.
And
so that's where that value comes in, right?
What value? You haven't made the point. That's what I'm saying. Yes, all the stuff you said is true. Okay. Can't buy it anymore. What does that mean?
So can't because you said on a collectible, you can't make the rule for a collectible when I'm
not making the rule. You've yet to explain to me why anything you're saying has made that thing more valuable or less valuable. You haven't put the value in it.
You're just not wanting to accept it.
Just
not wanting to accept it. Look at the logic that I'm explaining to you.
I'm accepting I accept everything you just said. Now
you can't find it in your answer.
No,
your understanding does not make it legitimate.
Victor, do you understand what I'm saying? Has he once yet said, based on all of that stuff, he hasn't said now they're worth $1,000, now they're worth $100. You haven't said any.
Becomes a collectible. You cannot set the standard of what becomes. A collectible.
I'm not trying to set the standard. A collectible is something that's rare, and the rarer it is, the more valuable it is. That's what I've been saying this whole time.
Point. No, that's not true. That's my argument. It's not.
You're saying
because the Grand Theft
when it comes to collectibles, it doesn't matter how rare they are.
Sold, it just can't be sold anymore. It's the stipulation that makes something a collectible
because you can't get them because they're harder to get. Because they're harder to get. That's what made it valuable.
Yeah, but at one point in time, it wasn't everybody had them.
Yeah, Babe Ruth's baseball card. There were hundreds of thousands of them made, right? And now there's not, and so that's why they're valuable. You're not saying anything different than me.
I still don't understand why you don't think they're valuable.
What's valuable?
I don't know, bro.
The artwork, the NFT.
I think that they are valuable. I think selling the ownership is not worth $60 million. That's what I don't agree with. And and by the way, as complex as all of you are, like, and a mass majority of people, by the way, agree with me.
Yeah.
So I'm me and the whole world is dense.
Look, that's the only people you're referencing. Because they don't understand, bro. Because of massive people, it's like Trump. Many people.
Man, you're right. You're so right, Dot. Hey, I got some shit I want to sell you, brother. You're right. You're right. Listen.
Right, bro.
You're so right. No. I totally give in and bow down to your supreme knowledge. You should come by my house. I have some awesome shit to sell you, brother. Like, bring your checkbook. It's gonna cost you, but it's fucking awesome, and you're going to be so happy that you and 5 million other people own it. And it's only for the small price of like $10,000.
Look,
I just don't understand why
that's
you
fine.
don't understand, Adam.
If I feel that it's rare, I'll buy it for 10,000.
If you feel that rare is not a feeling.
It can be lit.
Rare is not a feeling. Something is rare or it's not. It's not a feeling.
Now reiterate your point and then say that statement again. Reiterate your point. Follow up that statement.
But you don't understand.
What don't you understand? Like I've made really clear what it is that I don't understand. Like what part of it don't you get?
Okay, so you have a digital artwork and you sell it to somebody, and it has information on how many times it's been sold, who it came from, where it came from, and all the information needed for it, so that you now own it.
Okay, right? I'll answer your question.
There is other people that can make copies of it. It doesn't actually.
I'll answer your question.
Information.
I'll answer your question. Here's why. It's because when I buy a painting, when I buy anything else that there isn't everybody who have lots of copies of, I don't have to rely on you two thinking that it's valuable and so there I can sell it, right? I can rely on the majority of people who collect shit recognizing that it being an original and being the only one that the person actually physically created is valuable.
The only one, it can also be up to 20 of them if it wants to be.
Right, but you're not talking about 20. Like that's the thing. You're not talking about a few, and you very rarely.
No, you're not talking about 20.
Of digital prints sold?
Yeah.
Because when somebody sells something for $60 million, people, they get to sell fuck tons of copies afterwards. When something becomes that popular, they don't sell 10 copies of it.
No, they don't. Or else it wouldn't be worth $60 million.
Oh.
You don't go out and sell like.
So they give the rights, they allow the artist the right to sell it as many times as they want to under this wink, wink, nod, nod idea that they're only going to sell like 3 or 4 of them, even though nobody else is going to pay the $60 million because they don't own the rights to it. Right now, everybody else is just buying literally a digital copy of it.
Not getting it because it doesn't go to his logic.
That image.
He's not getting it because it doesn't go to his logic.
It's not my logic. It's the logic behind what people find valuable.
The actual image that's being sold has data behind it.
Right. The one does, right?
Right.
But why does that mean that the other person can't sell a fuck ton of copies of it?
Who?
If
the artist or the buyer?
Yes. The artist. The artist retains rights to the image just like a painter does.
Right. Okay.
So they can print out that thing, they can email it out as many fucking times as they want to.
So then that goes back to what I'm saying is you got to invest in the artist. You got to make sure the artist is not a douchebag.
Why would they do that? Like, so they're going to sell a $60 million thing. It's going to become extremely popular, right? They're going to have this thing that lots of people are going to want to buy for like $100, right? And they can mass sell that motherfucker with all the popularity that it has, but they're just not going to do that.
It just dawned
No,
on me.
because
Hold
they made
on.
the $60 million
Adam.
off the one print.
Wow.
Wait,
You think that despite having the right to do it, they're just going to be like, because I have a lot of money, I don't want to make more money.
About something.
That's the point of selling one for.
I think we're arguing about something that we're outside of.
No, it's not. The point is that the artist just decides they don't want money anymore.
Hold on.
They got the money. It's
that's not.
million.
I think. Hold on.
Almost nobody in the world makes money and then goes, now that I have money, I don't want to make money anymore. Like almost nobody does that.
Stop. Hold on.
Artists do it all the time.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Yes,
artists do not do that. I know tons of artists. I grew up with them. They do not make money and then say, I don't care about money anymore. That's not true.
They don't make the same.
Adam, Vic, it was not
if
sold
somebody
for
will,
60 million. Stop.
What about those spray paint guys? There's a guy in California that like made a thing and he made a print of it and he sells them all day, every fucking day.
As a print, not as the original.
Of course. What? So what?
There's a difference between a print and an original.
Okay.
Wait,
am I still on this motherfucker?
Yeah, like a packet of children. Okay, Dot, go ahead. Go ahead, Dot.
Are y'all listening?
Yes, I'm listening.
I think you might need to double check the story. I think you may have only gotten half of it, and I don't know why I engaged in it. I think the story you're talking about is in reference for a piece of art that was sold for, I think it was like 6 million. It was some odd number of millions, but I'm familiar with it. It was actually sold at an auction, and that's different.
There was one sold at what's the name of the
auction?
Big London
and it was
auction.
A couple million.
Yeah, that's not the one I'm talking about. Go ahead.
Right. So when it comes to something being auctioned, I don't think these artists are like, hey, the price tag for this piece of art is 60 million. No. You can
I'm not knocking the artist. Let me be really clear. If somebody wants to buy something from them for $60 million, they should sell the fuck out of it. I'm not knocking the artist a tad bit for selling it for $60 million. Of course, if I take a shit and somebody wants to pay $60 million for it, I'm going to sell it to them. Like, you'd have to be a moron not to.
The work of art that you're talking about is sold for 60 million.
Yeah, it was like a.
Who is selling it looks
like
data.
The image it looks like
an
old
for 60 million and was it sold from the art buyer
picture. Hold on, I'll find it.
Right. Okay. So if it's the same thing that we're talking about, I know the artwork is a 3-dimensional. It's 3D artwork that's created, and that artist actually sold a number of pieces of artwork. With that work, now I don't think it was just that one. It is a block of work that they have that sold at an auction.
Okay.
And it ended up auctioning out like 60 million. Not just, I'm gonna draw this picture, but what's happening is you got a lot of other people that are also doing the same thing. I even think Paris Hilton drew a picture of her cat, and it's sold for like why it is becoming value that way. So you're getting art from people now. It wasn't just, I drew this picture of a Nintendo and I'm selling it for 60 million. Oh, hey, I'll buy that. No, I think it was auctioned off. Look into that photo and see if it was auctioned.
Right, but I mean, why did the person at that auction spend $60 million? I mean, like, that's my point.
They got the bread too. They got the money to. It's worth that to them. That's where it goes. That's where Victor Point comes in. That's where Victor Point comes in.
If somebody wants to buy that from that person. If people are spending, a few $100s for the rights to a digital picture, then I guess c'est la vie. But my only point is that most people, okay, and we'll have to agree to disagree on this, right? But like my mom sold art to big collectors in Chicago. Like I've been around this, and this isn't like my perspective of it, right? Typically, people that invest in art, yes, they like the artist, but as people who make lots of money, they also invest in the idea that they'll be able to sell that again for hopefully at least the same price, somewhere near it, or hopefully more, right? And that's what like people who collect shit. Even the people, even like the nerdy dudes that collect like the Jedi shit and stuff. 90% of the time, the stuff that they buy, even when they're like fanatical about collecting it, they still like the idea that they're going to buy it now.
And it's gonna, this is Grimlock.
Right.
Yeah,
Most of them are buying it with the idea that
what
it's
I'm
going
explaining,
to be
and
worth
I have
more
a
later.
It holds value. Yeah, it holds value.
Yeah, and I'm saying I think
Not necessarily, bro. Not necessarily.
okay, but looking at how people are responding to it, like the idea that it's going to continue to raise in value is based on what all things are based on that we apply value to them, right? Which is that the general population is going to agree that it has value and that the value is going to continue to grow. And I'm saying I think it's a hard sell that the mass majority of people are going to buy into the idea that a digital copy of something is going to retain and continue to grow value. And if you read a lot of these articles,
fuck the mass majority feelings. It don't matter.
But that's
I bought this for this price. I don't care to resell it. I don't care if it's valuable to anybody.
Normally, people spending $60 million aren't thinking that.
I got the bread. I don't care.
If you're trying to establish not a situation where you're going to have one-offs of somebody buying something because they have billions of dollars, listen to me. It's not. There's lots of them selling for over $1 million. So this isn't a one-off. And if the sell is that you want people to, which the conversation here is people trying to set this as a collectible like anything else. And I think if in order for that to happen, right, in order for it to become a collectible, and the idea being that it's going to hold and continue to grow value, the only way that ever happens with anything ever in history is if you can get a majority of people, a large group of people, to agree on that it's worth something and it's going to continue to get valuable. And even when that happens, who's
saying that it's going to be to a collectible? Is the artist specifically saying that this is
they're doing this for it to be a collectible? You're like, you have like from the beginning. Stop. From the very beginning, your argument. It's felt like you're defending artists. There's no need to defend the artists. I'm not saying artists are doing anything wrong. If they have an opportunity, whether I agree with its legitimacy or not, they should take it.
The artist. I'm explaining to you the process that I had learned about.
You ever heard?
I learned about it. I was like, okay, this is interesting. That's cool.
Have I heard about what?
Baseball cards. You ever heard baseball cards?
Yeah.
You know baseball cards are, right?
And a large percentage of people believe in the value of them.
You know, about in the 80s, baseball cards were actually worth something. And
even more than they are now, right? Like
they went more than they are now.
Right,
a lot more than they
are
now.
It wasn't just baseball, basketball.
Yeah. You know why?
Because people decided that they were. That was it. That's my point.
Do you know why that they're worth less now?
Because people decided that they're not. Because the group of people. I mean, you can give me a specific reason, but that's gonna ultimately be.
That is absolutely wrong.
You're gonna tell me a reason why the masses decided
digital art.
But it's still going to be because the masses decided.
No, it's
you're gonna tell me.
Let me talk.
Okay, go ahead.
The reason that baseball cards are not worth as much as they were originally is because the baseball companies
started printing a bunch of them.
Companies started printing a shitload of them.
Right, and then all the people, the collectors. This is what my point. Just real quick. My point is, no, I will, but I want to just bring in my point. When that happened. Just real quick.
Over everybody, right? You know, you can't talk over everybody.
You've been talking over me too. I want to make a quick point because you were saying I was wrong.
In the middle of what I'm saying.
So have you and him both, several times. He has yelled at me while I'm talking over and over and over again. I have it on recording. Then you just didn't hear him. He was down there going, guys, stop. Listen, I have something I got to say. Stop. Hold on. You just don't know this one thing. Hold on, guys.
I thought I keep getting this. Only reason why I was doing it because I'm like, are they even seeing me? That's why I went into the mail. I'm like,
but you were doing it right because Victor's just saying it didn't happen.
Because y'all were talking and I thought that I wasn't.
I'm mad at you for it. This is what happens when you have heated discussions. It's fine. Go ahead, Victor. I'll make the point later on when it's less important. Go ahead.
Look, so the baseball companies actually printed more out. So there's more of them out there, so it breaks down the value of them.
Right.
So then it lowers the value of them. That's why no one gives a crap about baseball cards, basketball cards, football cards anymore. Right. Almost none of them are worth anything. So if the company, if the actual artist that is sending these out, that are selling these things, if they decide to sell 200,000 of them, then they're just going to bring down the value of their own artwork.
No, okay. So let me tell you a few reasons why I disagree.
Boom.
So for starters,
you can disagree.
So for starters,
But the rules are.
Yeah, see, we never talk over each other. It never happens. Yeah, you're totally right, Victor. Everybody but me just shuts up when people are talking.
Go ahead, Adam.
I don't mind. I'm just making a point. This is what's gonna happen. I understand.
I'm ad-libbing.
I don't go for it. I'm not mad at you.
I'm ad-libbing.
I'm not mad at you for it. Okay, so the original. So real quick, that is the reason the baseball card companies printing out lots and lots of them are the reason why the people who had applied value to those things stopped applying value to them, which was my point. Right. There's a specific reason why the group of people decides it's not valuable anymore, but it's still always going to come down to whether or not the people that have decided they're valuable or not think they are or they aren't. Typically when a mass production goes out, that's going to make a group of people stop applying value to them, which was a point I was making a really long time ago. So I agree, but it ultimately all value. I mean, look, the original money, the first time anybody came up with the idea of currency, it was in like some island, and they had these massive fucking stones that became money. And it was like the stone was worth a house or whatever, right? And every time they wanted to make a trade, somebody would move the stone to the other guy's house. And then eventually they were like, look, who gives a shit where the stone is, right? It's where, like, nobody's going to come steal it. It weighs a fucking ton. Leave it in your yard, but it's my fucking stone now. And it even got to the point where they would move these stones like to different islands, and a couple of them, like the ship sank and the stone was down at the bottom of the ocean, and that wasn't considered lost. Like they were like, okay, your stone's down at the bottom of the fucking ocean. We all know it's there. There's your stone. It's worth a house, right? And as long as everybody believes that, then the stone's worth a house, right? And it's the same thing with anything with value. So to break down this idea that I'm trying to change what makes something valuable or not, that's what makes everything valuable. Money is based on the fact that we believe it's worth what it's worth. And tons of examples of countries where they stopped believing that and it stopped being valuable, right? Over and over again, right? We know all this. Yes. Now, to your point, I think the difference between baseball cards and this art is this is one particular piece of art, right? So printing out tons and tons of copies of it and making fuck tons of money off of those copies means that now this piece of art is not worth a lot of money. Like what the baseball card companies did is they made tons of all the fucking cards of every fucking player, so there couldn't be any that were rare and new and unusual. An artist can sell 1 million prints of something while everybody's buying them, and then as soon as people are like, well, fuck, there's 1 million of them, I don't even want one anymore, they go make a new piece of art, and that can become valuable.
Wait, okay. But then would anyone actually buy a large piece of art?
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
They know that the last time
it doesn't matter because they don't own it to sell anymore, Victor. They don't own that piece of art to sell anymore. So it doesn't matter if the $60 million piece loses value. It's not their value that it's losing. They've sold it. They don't own it. They can't sell it anymore.
That's what I'm saying. Why would you buy a different piece of art from this person if they just fucked the last guy that bought a piece of art for that much?
At first, it was a tangible art that you could hold in your house.
That's my point. Is with the tangible piece.
Now it's about how many prints that are out there.
You can sell 1 million prints of a Mona Lisa, and the Mona Lisa doesn't lose any of its value, no matter how many prints you sell. That's my point.
Of baseball cards just proves
owning
the
original. The one only original.
Was the point of the digital art.
God, you understand what I'm saying, right, Victor? Because you're going on to a whole different thing, Dot, and I think the point I'm making is legitimate here. Is when you own something that there's only one of,
you're just making a point to justify
somebody can't change the value of that item anymore by making lots and lots of them. That's the point I'm making.
The point is,
you do understand that the original,
but the first initially was about whether it was digital art or art you can actually have in your house. Now that we're explaining to using the relevance of baseball cards to speak to the fact
I
of
do,
multiple
but I
prints,
just don't think that's a big enough difference.
Okay, so you had two different points.
I don't think it's a big enough difference for people to sell a whole to to insist that
that
there's a whole
I
lot of
have the
value
actual Mona
in that
Lisa
little
painted by
difference.
the
That's
artist.
the point I'm
So
making.
then
Why?
we explain to you the
Because it's such a
difference
small
in
difference. Like
mass producing multiple
in
things.
in
Now
the
you
mass
circle back
produced Mona Lisas that you're talking about, there's a huge difference between
baseball
that and the
card
actual
issue.
physical painting
This
that
is
the
the people
artist
who actually
put the
made the
paint on. It's like an
cards.
artist that's dead,
You're making
right? They
different
can't
points to
make
make
any
a
more
point to
art, and you
negate the
have
factor of
like
value
a
to digital art.
physical thing that they put paint onto. You know what I'm
The
saying?
baseball cards,
That's not what this is.
damn
You see what I'm
baseball
saying?
company
How do we know
mass
if the actual
produce.
selling of the more prints or
I
whatever
I
doesn't actually add value to the original?
No, I'm sorry. What was that?
How do we know that selling these like extra copies or whatever doesn't actually add value to the original?
Well,
Doesn't
my
make it more
argument
valuable.
is that, like we were just saying, because that I think there's not a big enough difference between these digital copies and the original itself, like there is
Why?
with. Well, for the reasons I was just saying. I mean, the fact that
What
like
were those reasons?
when you have an actual painting like this is something that the actual artist and physical means a lot to a lot of people. This is something that
A lot less now.
not when it
Meaning
comes
less
to
and
things
less
like
now.
this, not when it comes to pieces of history. Being able to own a piece of history that was physically in the room that Leonardo da Vinci painted in, to have something that he physically put paint onto, and that the paint is the paint that he put on, like
Right.
that has a
No.
fuck ton of value
Okay,
that something
Adam,
digital
Adam,
can never have.
Absolutely understand that the
Adam,
world is becoming
slow
more and
down.
more digital.
Slow down, bro.
Yes, but not about things like
Right.
this.
So
Not
you
so
have to
far.
create. But bro, slow down,
Obviously,
bro.
it
Let me
is.
jump back in this conversation
People
again. So hold on,
collectibles.
time out, Victor.
The collectibles that have
Okay,
short runs of
stop.
value are typically
Go
things
ahead,
not
Dot.
like
Go
this
ahead,
that
Dot.
aren't
Go ahead.
historically
Let's hear it.
valuable. Go
Dot,
ahead,
go
Dot.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Multiple different points that have nothing to do with the base of why something digital should not have a value, because your
Not saying
initial
that.
your flagship point was
That's not my
your
point. If you're gonna make my
bruh.
point, don't make it a wrong point. I've never said it
You
doesn't have
said
value.
how do you okay, so
I said it doesn't have
you said
collectible
I can make
value.
okay,
It's very
collectible
specific
value.
about that.
So therefore collectible value is based on all these different things, whether I can have it in my house physically versus something that is printed online that anybody can have access to. Then Victor
Yes.
told you, well, there are different things that make that valuable, that you get authenticity. I even tried to explain that to you, right?
I
Is a
understand
part of
that. I
blockchain.
don't agree
You
that they're a
track
big enough difference.
that specific art. So let me give you
I don't think it's a big
another
enough difference
factor.
between that and a copy.
Victor, okay. Victor went into baseball cards.
Mhm.
He explained to you, because at first it was I own this piece of art. It's in my house. You know, the artist painted it. He sat there and painted it, and no one else will have it. That's no problem. Victor said, well, there were baseball cards in its entirety, just baseball cards. Certain ones have value,
Because they were
and then
rare.
they started
Sure.
mass producing a fuck ton
And
of
they
them.
weren't rare anymore.
They
Right.
were rare, right? So right, so that made those things rare,
Right.
right? No longer rare.
Right.
Okay. There weren't many paintings that were created, but there are many prints done. But those prints don't have any from Da Vinci. It's still Da Vinci is still rare because he can't paint them no more. Okay, so here's the third
The prints
example.
aren't very valuable.
What's Steph Curry's dad? Who's Steph Curry's dad? The coach, fucking
I
Clippers.
don't know.
What's
I forgot his name. I would know his name.
I don't
is
know.
it Mark Curry or fucking whoever? Okay, I
Stefan
think what
Curry.
it was. You could look it up.
Stefan Senior. Go ahead. It doesn't
No,
matter.
no, he's a coach.
I
He's
believe
a
you. I'm
basketball
just saying his
coach.
name's probably not that important to
Well,
the
I think it
argument
was
that you're
if it's
making.
him, if him. Well, his basketball card is value. He played. There's a card that when
And
they
Michael Jordan's
played
card is still
somebody.
valuable because it's still rare.
Here's the thing. There's a fuck ton of these cards printed out.
Not
Valuable.
Michael
People
Jordan's.
had them. People
Michael
probably.
Jordan,
That's
the
not what I'm talking
original.
about. That's your point. Not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
The only reason why his card is this background of the card is the Menendez brothers. when they killed their parents, they bought floor seats to a basketball game, and the photographer got a shot of that, and it became a card. Do this.
Okay.
That they were in. They tracked it back to the time. Yes. Look into it.
Okay. That's crazy. But
so that just is crazy, right?
It is crazy.
But that one random card has value now.
Sure. And the less of them that there are, the more valuable it would be, right? Like if there was.
But there's no way to know how many they printed. They could have printed a bunch of them because it was a card that he was just a random fucking player at the time.
Right.
So it was just a slew of cards printed out. Right. So people could probably still have it.
Right. But
the point is that there's,
to our point, if there was only one, it'd be worth more.
There's different ways to route what is going to be a collectible, what is not. There's no standardized way. So when you introduce a way to make digital art valuable, you cannot negate it because it doesn't match traditional forms of what is and is not valuable. You don't have that control.
I don't.
And this is another point as to why
first of all,
a random person's card.
I'm not saying I have the control to decide it or not.
One step phrase that, and maybe I got that wrong.
I'm not saying I have the control to make that decision. What I'm saying is all of those things that you're talking about, regardless of why they became valuable, the rarer they are, the more valuable they are. In any kind of collecting, even if something with a lot of them is worth something, the lesser that there is of them, the more that they're worth. And when you're talking about
let me touch
things
on
that have been purchased for like $60 million, they're never something that there's 500,000 copies of. That's never nobody buys one of 500,000 for $60 million.
Let me touch on rarity then, bro.
Okay.
So because things will degrade physically over time does not give them value. With digital now it's gonna last as long as there's an electronic signal or however you can store it digitally. Right?
What does that have to do with rarity?
It doesn't become rare anymore. So then how do you create value?
By not as a collectible, by the thousands of other ways that people have managed to monetize their digital art that isn't a collectible. Like lots of people do. I mean, there's lots of things people have made valuable.
I think you just caught the point and now you're trying to run from it.
I'm not at all. I'm making why your point isn't legitimate.
It's okay, man.
I'm not running from it. I'm answering your question. I don't know how answering your question is running from the point.
You having something that's rare, based on what you're saying, it can't be rare because I can digitally have multiple copies of it. It's on the internet. Everybody can have it. How do you make it rare? Because it's outside of your understanding. Once you get the knowledge and the facts on it, then it becomes inside of your understanding on how.
I don't think that there's anything that you've said I don't understand so far. So I don't know what the facts are that I don't understand.
But I don't understand how you don't understand that these things are rare. That there is a rarity to
and me and lots of other people, by the way, because I mean you're both of y'all acting like I'm stupid for thinking what a lot of people are thinking.
You see, but you can't just say that. You can't just be like that's exactly what Trump says, is that there's a lot of people. I believe that
a lot of children believe in Santa Claus, bro.
You can't just
let me speak to that point then, right? Killing somebody is not something that everybody has to agree on or disagree on as to whether it's right or wrong. Like we in our
our U.S. military does it and do it for a job, and you get paid to do it.
Okay, I don't know what that has to do with the point I'm making, but yes, you're right.
You say killing somebody.
Okay, like if I say any word, you can say anything about it, and it doesn't matter that it doesn't have to do with what we're talking about.
That's the whole point of making something valuable. What you're starting on with.
The military kills people has to do with making something valuable.
No, as far as
you don't even know the point I was going to make because I haven't made it yet.
I don't. But that's my whole point. You have went through all these different.
The whole point is that you don't know what I'm going to say, but you know I'm wrong.
No, it's not about you being wrong. The point is you're making all these different points to try to say something isn't valuable when you don't know
I'm debating with you. You're
it takes
saying
to make it
something
valuable.
that has some value to it,
That could be
and
a whole
I am
nother
saying
debate.
why the thing that you're
The parking
saying.
lot, that one.
Well, I'm just saying that you
Parking
can't
lot
debate
what?
and
I would
just-
like to respond to the stuff that y'all call me out on and explain to you why I don't think that that changes anything. I'm
your
not allowed to
argument
do that
changes to where A
now?
lot of people think the
Go ahead,
same.
brother. Go ahead.
You said Trump says that all the time. I would say that there are things that are right and wrong, and not just morally. There are things that are called facts, right? And Trump often likes to just decide facts aren't facts because a lot of people agree with him that what he thinks is right, even though factually he's wrong, right? I what we're talking about is collectibles. And as I think we kind of agreed on not too long ago, that the value of collectibles is based on a decent amount of people agreeing that it's worth something, right? And so now it does matter. It does matter that lots of people agree or disagree because that's ultimately what's going to determine whether it has value or not. So
No, you said that a lot of people agree with your argument.
right.
That's not part of. You can't just. That is not an argument to be made. Well, a lot of people agree with me. That's not. That's not. That's
If
not
you're
an
talking about something where the value of it is going to be based on whether most people agree on it or not, then if most people don't agree with it, then that's going to be a problem.
No, that's two different things. You said a lot of people have to agree on a value. That's fine. That's an argument. But a lot of people agree with me. That's not an argument.
A lot of people agree with me that there isn't value in it. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't finish the sentence, but
that's not an argument.
If most people aren't going to agree that there's value in the difference between the digital copy and the copy that they get and the copy that everybody else gets, that's not going to be a problem in allowing it to have collector's value. I think it is going to be a problem, not because it's my opinion, but because everybody does have to believe in that value in order for it to be real.
Yes.
That
A
doesn't
lot
make
of
it
people
facts.
do have to agree to actually agree on value. But just to say that a lot of people agree with my argument, it doesn't mean anything.
Not that, yes, if all I was saying is people agree with me, my point is in my argument that they don't think that it holds value. I'm pointing out you guys are looking at me like I'm retarded for not understanding this. And I'm saying a lot of people don't understand this. And in order for the thing to have value, most people are going to have to agree that it does. Otherwise, it won't.
Well, there are enough people because it does have value.
There's like 4 or 5 people so far.
No, that's not. That's very oversimplification.
It's not. I mean, if you read these articles, it's a lot of people saying they don't understand why these few people are doing this.
And it's not a few. It's not a few people.
That's a you problem. that's
not it. When you're talking about when we're talking about creating collectible value, it's not a me problem. I'm sorry, but
not you. I'm talking about that problem because they don't understand.
If the majority of people don't accept the idea that there is real value in this small difference between what you get as a purchaser and what anybody else can buy, it's going to be a problem for the idea of creating collectible digital art.
Not as long as you have enough people believing in it.
So
right, but sure. If you have enough,
look at the one copy of the Wu-Tang album. Look at the one copy of the Wu-Tang album.
If there were enough, then there'd be tons of digital art selling for massive amounts of money, and that hasn't happened yet.
There's quite a few now. There's a whole bunch of websites that sell.
You know how much digital art is out there? Like, no, it's not that much. It really isn't.
Just because something just because it's a picture on the internet doesn't make it digital art.
7, 8, 9, 10 different websites that sell digital art.
Lots of them are selling prints and stuff for small amounts of money.
Actual NFTs.
For how much? For the amount of money that we've been talking about.
This show, do a screenshot of this show and send it online, and now it's a part of digital art.
Well, that's not true, and that's what I'm trying to actually point out is that it's not just screenshots. It actually has to be connected with authentication. And
exactly my point. That's what I'm trying to. I don't know how many other ways to Adam, but he's trying to make a point because it's art is out there. Anybody can have a copy of it. It's not the same, bro. We're going on this whole time
I know we're
about
not,
something
because
we're
I've
trying to make it
we're
art.
not. It
It's
really
not
drives me crazy when you do this like rap. I'm done. I've won, and what you're saying isn't even true. I have not once
I
said that there.
haven't won. I'm not even. It's not even a.
Okay, you've said rap,
Bro,
it's over or
I don't
whatever.
know.
My point is, I'm not disagreeing. I'm not saying
Bruh.
that there isn't the slightest bit difference. I've said that when you first brought up the difference between copies and so forth, and how you would be able to tell the difference between a copy and original, I've said, okay, but I don't think it's a big enough difference. That's the argument I've made the whole time.
All right. I went to one site and one category of that site, and it has 1,100,088, about 1.2 million things that you can buy. Now, granted, they're not $60 million, but they are for value.
Right. Okay, but I mean, if we're talking $20, $30, I don't think that's part of the argument that we're making here.
Well,
Like-
yes, it is. I mean, there is value in this, and it will
And
be building up as it goes on.
I've never said there's no value. Like, I don't know how many times I got to say that. Like, I've never said that there's no value in digital artwork. I'm not trying to say that there isn't. I'm saying that the idea that the community is going to get a lot of people to buy into the fact that digital art is as valuable and a collectible as regular art is a hard sell for me. That's all I've said this whole time. Like, that's the only point I've ever tried to make.
It's a hard sell for you. That doesn't make it not. That doesn't mean it doesn't.
You're okay.
It's just
To
a
your
hard sell for
argument,
you.
because y'all keep wanting to tie
It's
it
a
into
hard
this
sell for you.
idea that I think, because I think this, that just means everybody else thinks
I'm only
it.
going off of what you
I'm
just
saying
said.
I
That's
think
fine, and that's cool.
I think you
agreeing with
know that I'm not trying to say that because I think this is true. I'm trying to
get
say
it.
that, like me,
get
I
it.
think a lot
I
of
get it.
people
I agree
are
with
going to
you.
have a hard time buying into it. That's my point. Not
Right.
because I said so
Well-
everybody has to agree with it.
So here's the thing. I get what you're saying. You now have the tangible data that shows a lot of people don't feel that way because there are
I don't have that tangible.
millions
People
of other
buying for
people.
$20 or $30 is not people deciding that digital art is as collectible as regular art is, when there are pieces of art on a regular basis being sold for millions of dollars. That's not the
Yeah.
same thing.
And
There are millions.
maybe not even 10.
There are millions of
What?
people.
This hasn't been going on for that long.
Okay, so there's a legitimate argument.
He's
that
going to
in
make
time
another
I'll be
point as to
proven
why.
What?
Look, there are millions
I'm
of
going to
people
debate his
that
thing like
are.
we're supposed to do on this show. Yes, that's what I was going to do. You're
There
right.
are millions of people that they do believe.
There are not millions of
The
people
opposite of
buying
what
this
you're
stuff
saying.
at the same price that art is on.
Hey, Victor.
Rare collectible real art is
Millions of
being
people
sold for
don't
on a
have
regular basis.
$1 million
But that's what you just said.
because it was auctioned.
That's
Well,
what you
you're the one
just
that
said.
just
I'm
raised
responding
it.
to
I'm
what
literally
you just
saying. You said
No
for
one's talking about
$20,
60 million.
there are millions of people for.
Yes, and I don't
Thank you.
agree that people
Bro,
buying stuff for
not
$20.
everybody. That's why I said it ain't tricking if you got it. If it's $6 million, if I got $6 million to drop on a piece of art, I'm gonna drop that. But there's tangible data that.
So you're
shows
saying. So let me just
are
make sure I got your argument
That
down
means that there
pat
is
here.
digital. There is no.
Yeah,
I'll tell
guys,
you what my argument is. There is tangible data that
It's getting
shows
ridiculous.
people
This is
are
people not even listening.
purchasing digital art, whether it's $20 or $6 million. One person has $6 million. Whoever he was auctioning with may have had 2 million or or 4 million.
When it comes to real art, there's a lot
may have
more
had,
people buying it for a lot more money.
Well, you can't compare the two. One's been around for
That's-
over 200 years, 300 years, and the other's been around for 10.
Digital art's been around for 10 years.
Right.
Selling it like
Right?
this it is,
Digital art's been around for 10 years.
selling it like this has.
Oh, okay. Selling it this way has. Okay. All right. I mean, it's not the same thing, but I hear you. Okay. So you okay. So your argument.
It literally is. One has been around since like the perception of humanity.
I know I interrupt, but goddamn, dog, like you interrupt me, fuck, I start talking, dog. I know I interrupt too, but fuck, man, like it's starting to feel like it's
sometimes
not
I
a
think
matter
that
of you
my
desperately
connection is
wanting to
off,
get
so
a
I
point
just
out, but
listen.
you trying to make sure I don't get to talk at all because I might make a point is what it's starting to feel
You
like,
can
and
talk
that's getting
like
upsetting.
I'll mute myself. I'm just thinking out loud. Go
All
ahead,
right,
bro.
all right.
I I
Look, you're trying to say that I'm wrong and it just hasn't been around long enough to prove it. That's possible. I might not be right. Like I'm not, of course I could be wrong about anything that I talk about. What I'm saying is I don't think maybe it's just hasn't gotten there yet. And 10 years from now, I'll have to admit I was completely wrong on this show. I don't think that's the case. I don't think in 10 years from now, you're going to see digital art selling as often for large amounts of money as regular art does. And I can prove the other historical examples of this are, like you said, baseball cards, beanie babies. Like art has had large amounts of value associated with it over long periods of time. And I would argue that the reason for that is because of its historic value. And it's not just art, like historical item, like antiques and so forth. Those have been able to maintain a larger value than the sum of their parts for long periods of time, right? And I think, my opinion, is that there is an attachment to that item knowing that it actually came from where it came from. And you can't say that about Beanie Babies, and you can't say that about comic books or baseball cards and all these things that, yes, at some point they do end up selling for lots and lots of money. And then at some point they end up going back to being valued at something, but not huge amounts of money like we see art in antiques and original things being sold for. I think that digital art, and maybe I'm going to be wrong on this, I think digital art is going to be one of those things. I think it's going to be one of those non-tangible things that for a period of time people are going to get really excited about, and it might even get crazier than it is right now. But in the long run, I think it's going to have its run like baseball cards and Beanie Babies and everything else, that unlike the stuff that we've historically been able to put large amounts of value to, is something that you can physically hold and feel a part of history with. Everything else kind of comes and goes with its value. It has its moment and then it goes away. Maybe I'm wrong. I admit it. I'm not, so for all the arguments that I'm just saying I'm right about everything, I could be wrong. And I'm not even saying there's a slim chance I'm wrong. I could very easily be wrong, but that's my opinion on it.
I think they're doing enough
like
to
some
make
people don't give.
the originals different than the possible copies, where it holds value and can hold value for quite a long time. And I think it's possible that people even selling copies or showing copies or everywhere else is going to make the original more popular, and they will be able to hold value and sell it for more. And I believe that our world is seeing more and more value in digital information, in digital pictures and digital things that show up on your computer. People are spending more time on their computer, in the internet,
You
going around in the internet, and they're finding out new ways to interact with digital images. And I think it will hold value, and if not, increase value.
real quick, and then I'm going to give Dot some time to talk without anybody interrupting you.
I don't know.
You could argue that our move towards digital might in fact be what makes these other things so valuable, right? These pieces of physical history. The fact that we're moving so far away from that makes these things so much more special and valuable. And maybe that's why people are willing to pay so much money for them.
Actually, yeah, I'm not downplaying the value of the material world, and it probably will be exactly what you said. It'll be books will be the thing of the past for sure.
Yeah, which will make them valuable. All right, we've gone way too long on this one. Dot, is there any points you want to make before we go on to something else? I think we're gonna
I
have
got
to
to look
skip
into
one
it
of the
more, but
topics.
I think it's a really cool thing. We're witnessing a part of history, possibly.
I think it's cool. For
Possibly.
what it's worth, I wouldn't buy it, and I have a problem believing a lot of people are going to buy into it. But I don't have a problem with people like if it works, good on you. Like I've always said I love real art, and that's what I'm going to pay attention to musically, whatever, right? What I feel is actual something that somebody put like some real heart and soul into, and so on and so forth. And I'm not saying digital art is this, but I mean, look, if somebody can make a sound of them farting on a record and people want to buy it for $4 million, sell that shit for $4 million and get paid. And you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Get your money while you can, even if I'm right and this ends up turning into nothing, get your money while you can. Get it, get it. And if it does turn into something, good on you. And, digital artists can start making some massive money real quick. I mean, I don't have any problem with that. I just don't think it's going to happen. That's all I'm saying.
Art is art, man.
I agree. It can be
when
anything.
you look at people, what you feel is real art. That term, real art, to artists, is one of the terms.
You'd have to know what I meant by it. Real art is something that people put some real heart.
What do you mean by what do you mean?
Something that somebody has put a real piece of themselves into, and you can feel that out of it. That's about it. I mean, I've seen.
Okay.
My mom does collage, and assemblage is art. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not anything. I mean, it's something she creates out of nothing.
Have you looked at some of these digital works of art?
I'm not saying digital art isn't real art. I've never said that throughout this whole thing.
What I'm saying is, what you feel is real art? Is that something that someone puts themselves into?
Yeah, and I believe you can do that digitally. Absolutely.
Right. So therefore, any time that someone puts into anything, would that technically be art?
Anytime? No, I'm not, in my opinion, and I'm not the person who gets to decide what art is. But no, to me,
just on what you would invest into.
To me, it's not. That's not even a matter of investing into. That was just my idea of what I find valuable with art. What I find valuable in art in any medium is somebody putting a real piece of themselves out there for other people to look at and draw some kind of emotional value out of any kind. Maybe it makes them sad or happy. It makes them feel something, right? Yeah. To me, that's what art is, and it can be done even like. I don't at all think digital art is anything less than paintings or sculpture. I mean, I think it can take just as much skill. I think just as much heart and personality can be put into it, and I think it can evoke the same kind of feelings as any other art can. I just think it's hard to put a collector's value on it. Not. There's nothing to do with the legitimacy of the artwork. It's just as legit as any other type of artwork. I just think it's hard to put a collectible value on it. But yeah, I mean, I've seen digital art that has moved me. I mean, there is digital art out there that I like, and me liking it isn't what makes it art. I do think somebody, and again, there will be people that disagree with me, and that's fine. Somebody putting a banana on a canvas and saying it's art because it made you think, why did somebody put a banana on a canvas? I don't know. To me, that's kind of a cop-out.
That was some crazy.
But people do that kind of shit all the time. There's like
that was crazy shit.
Artists that shoots paint out of their ass onto a canvas. I mean, there's people that do all kinds of crazy shit. No pun intended. And it is art. I mean, I'm not saying it's not art. You're right. Anytime somebody does a piece of art, it's art. And the last thing I want to do is ever be anybody who is stopping somebody from doing that, right? Because you never know. Even the craziest shit could end up being a form of art that really moves people in a society, and you never know. So, hindering art in any way, shape, or form is a bad idea. Even art that I hate art or, ugly pieces. I mean, to me, art is a lot like free speech. You got to have it. You got to give people the opportunity to do whatever the fuck they want to do. And you might not like it, but that doesn't mean it's not. Even if that piece isn't important, which I can't be the decider of, it's important that they get to do it. Like, when Nazis talk about,
That was a good point.
when Nazis
I
make
think that
hate
was
speeches and stuff like that, I don't want to hear it. I think most people shouldn't hear it, but the fact that they're allowed to do that is very important, right? Because everybody needs to be able to express themselves, because right now it's hard to know 200 years from now what's going to be important. We don't know that. We didn't know it 200 years ago. We won't know it 200 years from now. We have to give everybody the opportunity to say what they're thinking and feeling, which is not what we're doing right now, right? I mean, people are getting judged and ruined all the time for saying what's on their mind. And just like you shouldn't be limiting the arts, you can't limit people's ability to say what they're feeling and thinking, because like people have to be able to do that. We can't get anywhere if people can't do that. It's like we got to be able to let people do that, even when we
that's
don't
where
like it.
cancel culture comes in.
Yeah,
Say what
for
you
sure.
feel and say what you think, like it used to happen in the 80s and 90s,
Right.
and your ass is canceled.
Right. I mean,
That's
the
right.
thing is, but
That's literally where the world is now. You cannot say shit that you used to say that was funny. That's
right.
the
Well, and here's the thing: like there used to
or
be a
you're
cancel
out of there,
culture.
Jack.
It was different. Like it used to be that you and I, like the three of us, could listen to something and be like, "Oh, that's horrible. I'm not going to buy that." Right? I'm not going to talk about it on my
A collective
podcast.
culture.
Right? I'm not going to support it because I don't like it. Right? And that's the way it should be. Right? That's society at its best. Like you get to do whatever you want to. I get to like it or not like it, support it or not support it. Perfect. But that's not what's happening anymore. Right? I mean, now it's like groups that have a lot of power are putting lots of pressures on corporations and employers and all this stuff to just fuck somebody up. And that's not the same thing as just not supporting something you don't like. And the thing is, the old way worked really well. Like more often than not, people that were like doing shit that was outside, like really too far outside societal norms, just didn't get a lot of attention and they went away. It worked really well. Like there was no reason we had to go away from that perfectly calibrated system. I'm not perfectly, but really well calibrated system that was getting the job done. Anyways, I think people don't see the boulder coming down the hill on this one. It's gonna be bad. Like either we need to get our shit together and stop doing it, or it's not gonna be I mean, it's just, who wants to live? I mean, like we've taken pride in this country forever. Freedom. We got all of our freedom. We get to do whatever we want to. Like apparently not anymore. Like what the fuck is that?
Which kind of gives you the
What's up?
I say, which kind of gives you the perspective of was it ever really freedom?
Well, 100% freedom. No, of course not. I don't. I don't know how we, as a society with lots of people living in it. I mean, all of us being 100% free to do whatever we want to, would probably be chaos, right?
Lot of evil out in the world that is hindered because there's a lot of evil
Yeah,
out there in the world.
yeah. I mean, we
Yeah.
got to have some rules and regulations, which takes away technically from freedom, right? But there are some that make sense, in order for the betterment of it. I mean, just what's really upsetting is it seems like by the 80s and 90s, it seemed like we had a pretty good, like, again, it wasn't perfect. But as far as like, what you were allowed to say and what you were allowed to do and how people dealt with people that did that they didn't like. I mean, it seemed like we had a good system that we were so proud of. You know what I mean? Like we were really proud of it.
The end. It was
What's
the
up?
end of. It was a change over time. It was the end of life as we knew it to before the inception of the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the internet,
So
I
we now
think,
have this whole new way of communication, understanding. Just we got a chance to witness history. That's what it was. You talk to people, who I mean, you can't talk to people who lived before the internet, but people who live after the internet. and see their understanding of life is completely different from someone who lived during pre and post internet. You see what I mean?
Right.
It's
I
two
think
different mindsets because what the people pre-internet were able to grow up learning and understanding and doing, is different from, a simple thing like reading maps. Just being able to read maps, and people, I just Google. I just rely on my, it's just too. We're living right now at a point where we can watch forms of life.
well, yeah, I mean, so I think with
So
the I think one of the things that the three of us have in common that um we're part of that gap in a generation. Like we're not really Xers and we're not really millennials. We're like kind of in between. They have like some weird, like anybody that was born, I think it's like 78, 79, 80 is considered outside of Gen X, but we're also not uh we're not millennials. We miss millennials, being part of millennials by like 4 or 5 years or something. And I think that we have this really unique insight on a world where we weren't born into the digital world, right? So we know what it's like to be able to like have lived your life in high school and not have to worry about it coming back to haunt you 40 years later, 20 years later or whatever. But we also, grew up, weren't so old that when computers and internet and so, like we were young enough to get into that and understand how it works and use it to our advantage. I think it gives us, I've always felt like I've had this real unique situation where like I use technology to my advantage, but it doesn't run my world because I know what life is like without it too. You know what I mean? Like I don't need it to be part of
right,
everything I do because I'm used to it not being part of anything I did. You know what I mean? But I also recognize it has this amazing power and potential to do things. I mean, people have access to more information than they've ever have, easier than they ever had, and yet we're dumber than we've ever been. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy how little the average person understands
because
about anything
I,
anymore.
I think because of the large amount, and it's the example I always tell people. Um, I grew up going to the library. Just that was our hangout spot. Go to the library, read some books or whatnot. Uh, uh, to where propaganda and
You're saying you had like an access to legitimate
uh,
information as opposed to stuff where you didn't know whether it was legitimate or not. Is that what you're
right,
saying? Yeah.
and then to explain to people, yes, correct, and then to explain to people, who debated, well, it's on the internet, so there's a wide variety of
Right.
things that are coming out now. I
And
say,
even
well, you have
yeah,
to
and even
realize
news and
that
stuff
it
back
took a lot
then.
more to print books,
Right.
publications, you go
Right.
through distribution, so
They would
access to
typically
information was rare, but
reference
none.
sources and stuff like that. And even then, like when we grew up, news was like the majority of people that did news, not even because they were required to, but like to be a news person, like it had to be in your DNA that your goal was to find the truth, and to be as truthful as you could be at all times. And if you accidentally put something out that you later found out wasn't true, that you did everything you could to make everybody know that. You know what I mean? Like they took their
Yeah, you
reputation
redacted,
of
being a
being
journalist. Yeah.
right, being a journalist, like as sacrilegious, you know what I mean? Or religious, I guess sacrilegious is, yeah, religious. They took it, you know what I mean? It was like a holy thing to them to be as honest and truthful as they could. Of course, that's gone now. People don't use libraries anymore. Plus, I kind of also, so you're right, there's people, unfortunately, having all kinds of shit thrust at them and they don't know what they can trust to be real or not, which is overwhelming. Plus, like I almost equate it to like, when I was growing up, we had a calculator, right? And so they taught me how to multiply and they taught me how to divide. I'm actually a math person, so I can do all those things. But it was like, we're going to show you how to do this, right? but you have access to a calculator, you know what I mean? So we will make sure you know what 2 times 2 is. But if you ever need to multiply 260,000 by 430, you know what I mean? Like put in a fucking calculator, you know what I mean? Like you have a calculator. Why are we going to pretend that we need to waste a shitload of time on you being able to do complex division in math when everybody has access to a calculator, right? And it feels like it's kind of the same thing like with the internet and everything is it's like, why should I go and absorb all that information and have it in my head when if I ever need it, I can just Google it, right? I can go on the internet and find all the information I need to have. I don't need to have that walking around with me in my head because I can access it whenever I want to, right? So why waste the time doing it? So I think that you know it's just kind of a laziness just because why not? You know what I mean? Like there's not a need to carry that information around. The problem is it's like when I'm thinking about things and how I feel about them, all of that knowledge, maybe not all of it, but lots of it are references for me as to how I feel about it based on shit I know about history and, you know, shit I know about math and, you know, all these things factor into my daily perceptions of things. And so if you don't have that base knowledge of information, how hard is it to consider complicated things and understand them? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
right.
All right. Anyways, cancer culture bad.
Cancel culture bad.
Very true.
I mean, man, it like we gotta get our shit together because things. I don't know.
I like
mean,
the fight though.
It's
I like the
what's
cancel
that?
culture. I
You
said
like
I
the
like
what?
their fight.
You like their
Their
fight?
fight. Yeah.
Give them.
Motherfucker head on.
You give them
I say
credit.
all the bad words.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cancel me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Try me.
Well, I mean, I think that's the sad truth to it is in order for it to go away, some groups are going to have to just stand up to it, and some of them are going to get slaughtered for it, and that sucks. Nobody wants to be the slaughtered lamb, but it's going to
have to be. It's going to have to be the big dogs.
Yeah,
like the big guys, the guys that have clout.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to have to be a lot of corporations that say, "Look, we're standing by our guy. We're not firing him because he said something stupid," right?
Yep. Yep.
And it's got to be like artists, like big comedians. I was talking about Justin Timberlake the other day and all that bullshit that he's going through. Like, I get it.
They fucking with my JT?
Yeah, for not apologizing to Britney.
For what? Fuck her.
Yeah, or exactly. not apologizing to Britney or to
Janet Jackson.
Now y'all can talk about him. Do not, RP, do not fuck with my JT. That's my guy.
I agree with you completely. I think it's total bullshit. First of all, these are two things that happened over a decade ago. How they even matter right now?
Wait a minute. I need to fight some. Who do I need to fight? What is he supposed to apologize for?
Man, I tried to bring this up 2 weeks ago. Nobody wanted to talk about it.
Oh no!
Look, all right. So obviously, real quick, things have gone off the rails a little bit. We normally have like
we gotta talk about Justin right now.
A 3-story show here. Obviously, we've been just going on, but I mean, you know, I also kind of feel like when we're on a good topic and things are, you know, going well, there's no reason to stop it.
Cancel culture then.
Yeah, so let's do cancel culture. I'm with you. So
we can get into the top we designed. I just wanted to know.
No, I'm with you.
I had one question.
I'm with you.
What's he supposed to apologize to Britney for? That's all. That's my only question. I don't know.
No. We'll answer your question. We'll answer your question, and I'm not complaining. I'm saying let's talk cancel culture. It's a good topic.
Well, the other two topics that we had that were actually pretty good ones too.
They are. We can talk about them another. We might have time for one of them when we're done. We'll see how it goes.
It's fine. Yeah, I don't think so. Go ahead.
Well, okay. Yeah, you're right. All right.
Yeah, cancel culture is a rabbit hole. That's a rabbit hole.
It is. Look, to answer your question,
I just didn't know
when all this stuff came out about Britney Spears and people thinking, which that's a whole nother rabbit hole I could go down of whether or not, you know, she's being taken advantage of because she has this whole her dad is the power of attorney, right? And he makes all of her decisions for her, so she can't decide like how to spend her money or what she wants to do because of mental health issues, right?
Conservatorship.
Yeah, conservatorship. There you go. And so
What
people
the fuck
think, huh? Well, okay, it doesn't really. A big story about her came out because
Free
of that.
Britney.
Free Britney and the conservative. When that happened, people kind of got another taste in their mouth about how when he broke up with her, he like answered a question about whether they had slept together. And instead of saying no, because I think she had been saying she was a virgin up and until then. And somebody like called him on it. And instead of saying no, he was like, oh, well, and didn't say no and kind of let's be fair, implied that he had. And then
he actually said yes.
Did he say okay?
And then he was like, "No, nah, just kidding."
Okay, yes, and then said, "No, I'm just kidding."
Okay.
And then wait, hold on.
Wait.
It's not just that. Then the video that came out right around then, where there's a girl that looks like her that cheated on him.
Yeah, he put out a music video that basically said that somebody was cheating on him, and it was a girl in the video who looked just like Britney.
I'm a JT fan. Cry Me a River.
Right.
There you go. Yeah, what?
Cry Me a River. Yeah. And so
I can pull that. That's my guy.
They said that made her look bad, and then okay. Last thing, real quick, and then with the whole halftime show, that he didn't apologize to Janet Jackson for the
titty
unboobing.
That right, which was obviously staged. So and they obviously were in on it. So I don't know what he had to apologize. But on top of that, when her record labels and sponsors started giving her a hard time because of it, and his didn't, he owed it. I don't know. Like that was the thing they said, oh, it was fucked up that she got issues from it and he didn't, but nobody ever said what it was he owed it to her to do. I mean, it wasn't like he was the one giving her problems. Like he just didn't get the same problems, which isn't fair, but it's also not his fault. Like
it was the same thing with the Britney. Her sales went down and
his went up, right?
And his went up,
and he was kind of not as nice as he could have been about breaking up with a girl when he was fucking 19 years old or something. Like, oh my God, a 19-year-old boy wasn't the perfect gentleman breaking up with his girlfriend.
Fuck them. They it was a boyfriend girlfriend. So what are they were fucking? I don't tell them to shut up.
I agree. I mean, it wasn't like he went on TV and was like, oh, she's a slut and a whore and should die or something. There have been so many
public campaign, like they had a free Pimp C campaign, right? They better go.
Right, I mean, think about how many public breakups there have been that have been so much worse than that Ike one, right? I mean,
nobody asked Ike to apologize.
That's fucked up.
Too soon. I'm a cold motherfucker.
No, but you're right. I mean, what he did was so much worse, and nobody's asking for that. Plus, how about my big thing was, and I want to be clear, I'm not saying anybody owes any apology here, okay? But when Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce and she came out with Lemonade, right? Like that was her husband that she was like dogging out on TV, and nobody was like
executive produced that. That's something that they did
together. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
like people gotta go.
I'm not saying there should have.
It's gonna put more money in their pocket. It's great. It's great. Like there's no telling.
That would be different.
That could have been a whole completely fictitious story that they're like, hey, babe, here's what we want you to do. We want you to make all these man bashing songs about bashing men, even though you're married. We want you to, matter of fact, since people are starting to get winded that, let's create something to say, well, I cheated on you. Like, we all know Jay-Z loves the boys and Beyonce loves.
Yeah,
I'm talking completely out of turn here, but I have never believed that whole marriage was actually based on any kind of love. I think Jay-Z and
they get along. They're probably friends for real, but it's an arrangement. Yeah. It's a power move.
They're two bad motherfuckers that got together and thought they'd be even better together.
Maybe. Yeah. That's a possibility.
That fight in the elevator is why Kelly Rowland baby looked like Jay-Z.
But not to get too far off the point. My only point was that was my best example. But there are plenty of times where people break up and the female artist make songs and musics talking shit about the dude all the time when that shit happens, and nobody's asking them to apologize for it. And the song he made wasn't even that bad. It was not like, I mean, you know, like he suggested that she cheated on him. Maybe she did, for all we know. You know what I mean? Like, does anybody know that she didn't?
It's art, man. All he did was create something.
Right.
You listen to the audio. You're not gonna say he doesn't mention her name at all.
He doesn't.
It's
He
not
doesn't.
until you get to the video
then it looks a little like her, or a lot like her, probably.
Right, and that goes into casting, directors.
Right.
Everybody on the table from the board was in agreement to plugging that in there to capitalize off of the factor. It was done intentionally.
Broke up with
this
right.
video wasn't something that like, oh shit, is like, nah, man, that shit was all staged.
Look, I think
the only thing is that it feeds back into that old stereotype that the man is the man for sleeping with her and she's a hoe for sleeping with him.
Right, but that's not his fault. Like, he shouldn't apologize for that.
I'm not saying it is. It just
right.
Yeah, well, I think we all agree.
People are saying that, though, is my point. But I'm not saying you are, but people are saying that. It's the same thing. Like,
I get it.
The fact that either Britney or Janet Jackson got shit for it and didn't sell as much and got crap from the record, that's fucked up. They owe them an apology.
Yeah,
that should never have happened, and that is unfair, and it is because they're women, and it's bullshit, but it doesn't have anything to do with Justin Timberlake.
The ship that they're trying to sail is that you're supposed to be showing solidarity with women.
What was he supposed to do, though? That's what I want to know. It's not like he was on the same record label and could go and say, hey, stop doing that, or I'm not going to. Like, you can't go to your record label and say, hey, record label 1, because record label 2 is doing some really fucked up shit. If you don't, call them and convince them to not do that? I mean, like, how does he have pull with somebody else's record label?
No, he has pull with popular opinion.
It's good for business.
That's a stretch.
Controversy
like,
sells.
You're saying that somebody's ex-boyfriend has an obligation to stand up for their ex-girlfriend when they are catching some shit just because they're. I mean, like, that's asking a lot of people.
Okay, yeah, okay.
It sells records, man. That's all it is, and it's a record business.
Hey, we should shit all over that person.
If he had done that. If he had gone out and said, hey, everybody shit on them, I would completely agree with you. But I don't think he did that.
Well, he fed into the narrative. Obviously.
He didn't create a diss track like Eminem did.
Right. I mean, he made one song that was slightly referencing the fact that he had broken up with somebody. And that's what artists do. Like, he had just broken up with somebody. Of course, he wrote a song about breaking up with somebody. And just because that's like where your headspace is doesn't mean you literally write a song exactly about what just happened to you, right? Like, you're breaking up, you're an artist, you're like, oh, these feelings I'm having, I'm gonna write this song, and then the song goes the way the song goes.
The point is that people only try to correlate the song to it because of the image in the video.
Right.
Until you look at the video,
he did.
You listen to the record, it's a great record.
But then you're
mentioned her name. He
all
just made a record.
Then you're saying all this comes down to the fact that he just shouldn't have picked a female that looked like Britney Spears. Okay.
No, I mean, just like what you said. And
every girl look like Britney Spears.
I've become the defender of Britney just from accident here. I didn't mean to. I just got pushed into that position. But I'm saying
I love Britney.
Little thing would have been for him to come out and say, "Hey, look, it's art. It's not a reflection of real life. It's not an exact reflection of real life. It's just art. It's just a song. Y'all chill out with all this shit."
Okay, and I will give you, in a perfect world, he could have done that. But there's a difference between not behaving perfectly and behaving in a way that requires an apology. And it's not one or the other. There are lots of levels in between the perfect way to handle a situation and doing it so badly you owe an apology for it. That's what I'm saying.
But it's also kind of rough because it's not like, me, you, or someone else on our level doing it. He actually profited from it, and a lot of people saw it. And
but again, I'm not. He didn't profit from being an asshole. He profited from writing a song about breaking up with a girl. Like,
he kind of did, though, because it was highly suspect that it was a
Well, and you're
view of their
assuming that she
relationship
didn't
and their
cheat on
breakup.
him.
Huh?
You're assuming she didn't cheat on him.
Well, you're assuming she did.
No, I'm saying I don't know. It's a song. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying I'm not saying that a song is like you going on TV and doing an interview about what happened in your relationship. So you can't apply that in either direction.
Him
It's a
and
song.
talk on the phone and be like, yeah, that'd be
But
dope. It'll help you sell records.
I mean, look,
You're like,
But
word,
the
cool.
video
that-
does
that-
imply it.
I'm with that. And then the next thing you know, now people,
it's
like that's
still
what I'm
like,
saying. Like people don't know the
Look-
ends and working of the industry. To where he could have like, hey, Brittany, I'm finna use this chick that looks like you in a video to help sell records. Word, that's what's up. It'll actually create talking and it'll bring attention to you too.
right, like
Either way it
Tupac
goes,
and Biggie.
they both finna make money. Right, exactly, man.
Right.
So tell them people to sit down and they don't know what the fuck they talking about.
Right.
We like
Right.
they successfully ate goddamn food. They drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
That's all it
How
is.
about
Like,
this? How about if Britney comes out saying, I still think he owes me an apology because none of that happened and I didn't realize he was going to do that and it totally hit me off guard and actually made me feel like, and I actually, me, the person that everybody's defending, actually even gives a shit about any of this because she probably doesn't,
right.
then let the guy apologize, right?
That's why
But
she
a
ain't come
bunch
out
of
and say it
people,
because she. That's why she. Yeah, she ain't apologized because
the same thing with Janet Jackson. I mean, you could,
that's what I'm saying. Like it didn't even bother her.
right. You could argue that with the conservatorship, maybe she can't, right? But Janet Jackson can say whatever fuck she wants to, and she isn't saying he owes him an apology. You know what I mean? Like this cancel culture at its best is a group of people standing up for another group of people that 9 times out of 10 ain't asking anybody to even stand up for them. You know what I'm saying? Like how many times does somebody get upset because somebody disrespected a group of people and that group of people isn't saying shit about it, right? And it's like, if they don't care, maybe you don't actually know what the fuck is going on and let them take care of themselves. Now, sometimes people need help, right? Minorities, small groups, they can't get the attention, but at least let them suggest that they need the help before everybody comes running to their aid and causes issues that nobody even wants.
Right.
I never, in the stuff that I read about it and when it happened, I never remember either one of those women suggesting he did anything wrong, being upset about it, asking for an apology, like ever having a problem with him, period.
Let me ask you a question. If I remember, because I was actually in Houston when that Super Bowl happened with Janet.
Didn't him and Janet Jackson were together, like, I don't know, together, but it wasn't like they ceased seeing each other even after that, right? Like she had such a problem with him, they were still like going out and shit afterwards.
They used to, I remember, my memory jogs me, but didn't she have on like a pasty or something, or it was like
she had a pasty. She was ready.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a pasty, but it was something that was.
Pasty. I watched it like 5 times. It was a pasty.
All right. It was definitely something that was meant to be torn off, no doubt about it. Yes.
Oh yeah, no. The thing was tore off, but underneath,
right. So
had a pasty underneath.
Oh yeah, already on there, right? Yeah. And the piece of clothing was purposely designed so that you could rip it off. Yes, right. Yeah, they planned it.
So yeah,
they planned it. And how about this? If they had planned something where Justin Timberlake had caught a bunch of shit for it instead of her, would anybody be saying, and Janet Jackson didn't even come to his rescue when he caught a bunch of shit? Nobody would say that.
No, he didn't. He wouldn't.
Nobody would say, oh, Justin Timberlake's record label fucked with him, but Janet Jackson's didn't, and Janet Jackson didn't even come out and defend him. They'd be like, wasn't her fault. Why should she shouldn't get paid? You know what I mean? Like, the whole thing is just bullshit. Again, look, to your argument, Victor, like, I don't think his behavior was the most perfect behavior a man could ever participate in, but there's a difference between that and being required to make a public apology because you're not a perfect person. Like, none of us are. Like, we all do stupid shit. He could have, like, there have been plenty of examples of people that have been meaner to the people they broke up with, talk shit about them, been very specific about who they were talking to. I mean, there's tons of music where, like, it's not even a reference. Like, you know what I mean? Like they used the person's name. I mean,
that's why I said Eminem and MGK. Like it was an actual
right,
rap music
exactly. I mean,
battle,
people
right?
call people
He did
out.
MGK her. He did. Yeah, he's like you.
And what
Somebody look like
about
her.
what's the white girl who breaks up with everybody and then sings about him afterwards, and nobody's saying shit about that? She's broken up with
Carrie
like
Underwood? No, Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. She's like wrote a song about 8 dudes she's broken up with, and nobody's saying that's fucked up. And we all know who she's talking about when she sings the song. You know, a month after she breaks up with somebody, like
cancel her. Well, we need to cancel her for redoing September, that Earth, Wind, and Fire joint. That's what we need to cancel her ass for. That was the worst thing ever done. Oh Lord.
I hated it when what was it
Have
Jay-Z?
y'all heard that shit?
Isn't it Jay-Z and Beyonce that redid Tupac's, right? Me and My Girlfriend? Oh, that made me so mad.
They did. It was good.
I was like, that's so know what that song is. You know what I mean? Like, guy wrote this.
Oh, I think they just redid like a rendition of it. I don't.
Well, I mean, Tupac's song was about him and his gun. That he made about his gun was his girlfriend. It was a poetically beautiful, that was such an awesome fucking song. And then they made it about
like
being boyfriends and girlfriends. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. You like
it's like what it's like what Erykah Badu and Common did with Love of My Life. It was in reference to hip hop actually.
I gotta say, very rarely have I'm not talking about sampling. People sample all the time and I love it, right? But like actually taking a song, a good song, and redoing it, almost nobody succeeds at that. Like anytime it's like been a successful song that everybody likes, like that's what they want the song to be until the day they die. They don't want some other artist to come out and fuck with a song that they really liked and make it something else. You can do it, but it's so hard to pull off.
All right, hold on. I just want to read one thing. All right.
Okay. All right.
So after the whole Britney and Justin thing, the song came out. He actually called her apparently to tell her that there was a song coming out. He apparently, in her words, was actually trying to get back together and then said, oh, by the way, we have a song coming out that kind of mentions our breakup, but don't worry, it's nothing. And then he kept trying to, I guess he was trying to get back together with her. After the song comes out, what Britney says is that she was upset. I was upset for a little while. I think we were both really young, and it was kind of waiting to happen. I will always love him. He will always have a special place in my heart. He's such a great person. That you're right about that, but I mean, that's kind of what we're expecting from Timberlake also, instead of she's a bitch.
But has he done an interview where he's been like, oh, I hate that bitch and I wish the worst on her? I mean,
did a video.
I'm saying since then, because it sounds like this interview with her was after the video. Hold on. Right? Hold on. I'm saying like this was after the video came out, right?
Let me get this right.
What am I holding on for?
Let me understand.
You can answer the question.
She cheated on him. She cheated on him. He makes a video, but he has to apologize for making the video because she cheated on him.
Well,
in a
hold on. Dot, stop. I don't know that everybody thinks she actually cheated on him.
Yeah, no one really knows if she actually cheated on him.
Yeah, it wasn't like some publicly.
Now there's no proof. There's no document.
Yeah. In fact, I think most people think she didn't cheat on him. I'm arguing we don't know that. Like maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But if she didn't, for argument's sake.
Allegedly.
Right. Okay, listen. For argument's sake, let's say she didn't cheat on him, right? Let's look at the worst possible version of the scenario and say she didn't cheat on him. He did the video anyways. Again, I'm saying that's not the nicest thing in the world that you can do. Agreed. But it's also not that big of a deal. Like they're 19, 20-year-old musicians. Like he wrote a fucking song. Right. He didn't say her name.
Right.
He didn't say bad shit about her when it came out. Like he wrote a fucking song that wasn't the nicest song it could have been in reference to her. Like, so what? Like
he went straight Tupac.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, fuck, when Tupac, and
He didn't
again,
go full Pac, but he went Pacish.
no, I would say he did not go
Pac
Pac
was
at all.
knocking
I
down.
mean, Pac, like, is
Pac was
like,
knocking
fuck
down Faith
Biggie.
Evans and was like,
Fuck. I mean, he
yeah.
like literally told them by name
Pac
to
was knocking
fuck
down
themselves
everybody.
and die, and then he was coming to kill each and every one of them at the end of his fucking song. That you could say
knocking
somebody
down Mary
owed
J.
an
Blige
apology
and-
for, and I would
was
say,
exaggerating.
yeah.
I was exaggerating.
Yeah, I know, but I know you are. But I'm saying, like, if somebody was, if these two guys were still alive and shit had passed and they didn't hate each other anymore, somebody could say maybe Pac owes Biggie an apology for the end of that fucking song, and I would say that's probably not the worst idea. You know what I mean? Like, just let's get this all behind us. Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea. Yeah.
Dre and what's his name?
You know, that don't-
Easy E.
That mean
Dre
no
and
an
Eazy-E.
apology.
Right, Easy E and Dre, but they did.
Look at Nas.
They
and
made
Jay-Z.
up, and ever since they made up, Dre's had nothing but
smashed.
nice shit to say about him.
Yeah, they kind of made up on his deathbed though.
Well, I think, I mean, that also happened out of nowhere very quickly. You know what I mean? Like, you think you have more time until you don't. You know.
Suge Knight doing that.
And Cube was already in the process of like patching shit up and getting the group back together before he got sick. So I think it would have happened anyways. And to be fair, Trey had a decent reason to be pissed at the dude. I mean, you know, like, I
agree.
Everybody can. I see that from both ends because I've been a business owner and I've been an employee, and from an employee standpoint, I think what Easy did to him was so fucked up. And then from an employer standpoint, I can also see the like, you guys signed the fucking contracts, and then I did exactly what I said I was gonna do in that fucking contract. Like, what the fuck are we talking about right now?
You
know what I mean?
And I
Like,
told you, I told you, but you didn't understand it.
yeah,
It's not
I
my
mean,
fault.
fuck, you should have hired somebody to read that shit. Plus, I think Easy's standpoint was it wasn't all him, right? It was that
Heller, Jerry
yeah,
Heller.
it had a lot to do with that shit without Easy even knowing about it. But anyway, I mean, you're a grown ass man. Maybe they weren't grown ass men, but still, that much money, you should have a damn lawyer look at some shit before you sign it. You know what I'm saying? And if you are too young to know that, listen to me.
That's a methodology.
If
That's
this
a
shit,
methodology that a lot of the labels do with a lot of artists.
yeah, no, it's true. Take advantage of the fact they don't know what the fuck they're doing. If this
explosion
shit
of
blows
music in
up,
the South,
guys,
yeah, fuck yeah.
have somebody read the contract before you sign it. Okay, I'm just putting it out there now before I'm trying to steal all your money.
Yeah, I've worked for you before, Adam, so I understand that.
What? I paid you good. What are you talking about?
Paid you good.
He worked for me. I paid him one time to help me move my furniture into my house.
Victor, he says that while doing the Birdman hands.
That's right. Like this.
Listen. One time,
doing the Birdman.
When I owned my construction company, Victor would come in on the holidays and summers, and he'd pay him so he could make some money while he was on vacation. One time, I asked him to come help me move my furniture, and I paid him for that because I took him away from the job site to help me. I paid him for that.
I don't see the problem there.
I don't either. I'm saying you can't complain about me paying you because I took care of you even when you were doing me a favor.
You asked me to do something while I was on the job for you. You have to pay me.
I asked you to do something that wasn't the job. I don't ever have to pay anybody for anything ever, unless we agree to it. And I'm saying I think a lot of people could have unfairly argued that was you doing them a favor. I don't agree with that argument, which is why I paid you, because I'm a decent guy and a good boss. That's what I'm saying.
I would have gone and helped you if you would ask me to help you, but it was either.
I think you would have. I'm not saying you did anything wrong. I'm saying yes. I think you would have.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you did anything wrong. Right. I'm saying I'm the kind of good boss that's like, and I'm going to pay you for it because I'm taking you away from the job site where you would have gotten paid. That's the kind of good boss I was. That's all my point is. You didn't do anything wrong.
All right.
That threw me off. Yeah, read your contracts. Because if this shit, that was
Victor, did you have a
decent money.
contract? No,
If we're talking about
I had no contract.
if we're
I
talking
was
about lots of money,
non-contracted.
listen. If we're talking about lots of money, do not trust me. No, I'm just kidding. When it's a little
$6
bit of
million,
money, when it's like
digital
reason,
art.
when we're
Do
talking
not
about like
trust me.
decent hourly wage type of money, I'm a good guy. When we're talking big money, I will fuck you. No, I'm just kidding.
You heard it first here,
I want
folks.
to get paid, and I am gonna live off of your manual labor to do it. No,
Like Nino Brown said, it's the
yeah. You know what I watched today? I haven't seen forever is Tombstone. God, I love that fucking movie. Every time I watch it, I don't normally watch movies like lots and lots of times, and so like, but there's some movies that I see it and I'm like, oh, I've seen it so many times. But then when I do put it on, I'm like, cause I fucking love this movie. This is such a good movie. You don't like Tombstone?
I probably seen it.
Like I like the scene where Val Kilmer is all sick and dying, and they're like, Doc, what are you doing here, man? You're practically dying. And he's like, he goes, he says, Wyatt Earp is my friend. And the guy goes, so what? I have lots of friends. And he goes, I don't. I'm like, that's my man right there. I'm your Huckleberry.
Watched it, but it.
Oh, dude, that's so good. They like go to hell together.
It's a good movie.
Like they're all just like good friends, like Doc Holland. That's like the ultimate movie about friendship, dude. Like he has his back the whole fucking time.
I think I did see it.
And then at the very end, when he's dying, and he's like, if you cared about me at all, you're gonna get up and leave and never come back. And he's like, gets up and he's like, thanks for always being there, and then just fucking leaves. I'm like, oh, dude, I want to fucking cry right now. Shit is so good, man. I don't know how much of that is what actually happened or just Hollywood bullshit, but I wish that's what happened.
Bullshit, but it's good.
It's good shit, man. Good shit.
Poor Kevin Costner.
Huh?
Poor Kevin Costner.
Oh, because he did Wyatt Earp?
Yeah, he did Wyatt Earp, and it came out like a week later.
Maybe you should. Oh, did it really? I thought it was like a couple of years later.
No, that was the whole thing. They were making the two movies kind of simultaneously, and Tombstone came out. So when they got to like Wyatt Earp's more of like a melodrama kind of thing with some action, and everyone was like expecting another Tombstone movie. Oh, it just nothing.
Well, I mean, I hate to say it, but if he had made if it come out at the same time and been a Doc Holliday movie, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, because not that Wyatt Earp it's obviously it's about him, but I mean, he kind of steals the fucking show.
Oh yeah, for real.
Everybody watches it for the Doc Holliday parts of it, not for the Wyatt Earp shit, And what's his name did a good job playing Wyatt Earp too. I mean, it's not like he was bad in it or anything, but my man took the stage. Like he killed that shit. Whatever happened to Val Kilmer, man? He's like big now, right?
Yeah, he got big. Big.
And not popular big.
Not popular big.
He was so good, dude. Like Real Genius. I mean, come on, name a movie.
Real Genius. I love that one too. That's a good one.
So good in Real Genius. He was great in. Where's the one where he's the fucking FBI agent on the fucking Indian reservation?
No, I don't know that one.
Oh, what?
There was another one where he was like a special agent and he was like trying to like save people or something that were in trouble. That was pretty good too.
Oh, yeah. I know which one you're talking about. It's got the chick from Karate Kid in it, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that one was pretty good.
Top Gun, of course.
No, dude, if you haven't seen the one I'm talking about, it's like one of his best movies. He's like an FBI agent, and they send him onto an Indian reservation to like solve a murder, and he like finds out that he's like part Indian, and like he starts having like visions and shit, and he like reconnects with his culture, and like it's a good fucking movie, man. He's really good in it. Oh, and what about Iceman? Fuck, I totally forgot about.
That's what I said. Top
Oh,
Gun.
I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you say it. Yeah, he was fucking amazing in Top Gun.
Oh my gosh, and Doors. I forgot about Doors.
Oh
He
yeah.
was great in that one.
Yeah. He was really good
Those
in
was a
that.
good film.
Yeah.
The Saint was the
The
one where he was
Saint
trying
is
to
the
get
one you were
saved.
talking about. Yeah, it was good. I don't think it was one of his best movies, but he was good in it. I mean,
He
it
was
was
good
good.
in it.
I'm telling you, he was fucking great, and then he just like disappeared. I saw he was in Numbers, like the TV show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean only for like a few episodes. You know, it was like guest appearance or whatever. He's like a crooked FBI, not FBI, DEA, I don't know, some shit like that, government employee. But I was like, how far we have fallen when you're doing guest spots on Numbers. You know what I mean? I love that show, but it's not exactly what you're hoping
Yeah, he
people
was
are going to
also
notice on
on,
your IMDb link. You know what I mean?
He was also on Jay and Silent Bob's reboot. So there's also, that's a little rough. It's rough.
My man is fallen. Oh shit, he was good, dude. He was great, and
Oh, I forgot he was Batman too.
that he was not good in Batman, but I mean,
It was not the best. It was not the best Batman.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in that Batman, like in that movie, would have been the Batman you would have. You know what I'm saying? Like it was not a good movie. Like no matter who played the role, you weren't gonna like it.
Yeah.
It was a shitty Batman.
It was a pretty crappy Batman.
All the ones after. Oh fuck! What's his name? The first one.
Jack
You know,
Nicholas,
Beetlejuice. No, he was
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton was awesome.
Yeah, Jack
And it
Nicholas,
was
Michael Keaton.
And it was like for the time, because I mean, you know, it was like early 90s, late 80s, maybe early 90s, the first one. Any case,
Be
like
early 90s.
I mean, Batman's a lot different than it was back then, but it was a different time. You know what I mean? Like it was a really good Batman for the time. Like the way it was dark and the way, you know, it was good, you know? And then he
played
it
God
had a bit of
in the Prince of
80s.
Egypt.
Huh?
He played God in the Prince of Egypt.
Who did? Michael
Val
Keaton?
Kilmer.
Oh, Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer was God.
The Prince of Egypt. I don't know if I've seen that.
It's like a cartoon. It's animated.
Definitely haven't seen that. So Michael Keaton did 1 and 2, right?
Yes.
And then it was Val Kilmer. And then it was
the guy from ER.
Yeah. And I love him, and he was shouldn't have done Batman. But again, I don't think anybody would have done well. And I mean, those ones the ones after 2 sucked right up until they started redoing it with the what's his name, Batman. That shit was great. I mean, those are my favorite Batmans, to be honest with you.
Man, I tell you what, I'm waiting to see the next one. I didn't believe in the guy, but now I'm starting to think of it. Maybe.
You know, I agree. When they said he was going to do it, I didn't like him at all. But then he did The Town, and he did that movie where he was like the like assassin that's like on the spectrum or some shit. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It was like The Accountant or some shit like that. Because that one was really good.
Ooh.
Matt Damon. No, the other one.
The
Ben Affleck.
Affleck.
Oh no, he's already done it now. There's a new one that's gonna be it.
Who?
It's that guy from Tenet, the one we were talking about the other day. From the vampire love story bullshit.
Really?
Yeah, he's supposed to be a new Batman.
Twilight.
Oh, I don't know about
Edward
that,
or something.
Edward.
I like him, but as Batman?
I know. Well, I didn't like Ben Affleck as Batman. Well, before he was Batman.
I'm saying he did a decent job. Maybe this guy will too, but he doesn't. Like Ben Affleck's at least like, I don't know, like fills the suit. You know what I mean?
Well, I think they're gonna reboot it again. I think it's not gonna be like an old Batman. I think it's gonna be a younger Batman.
But like a young, skinny, short Batman. You know what I mean? Like
the dude is not skinny. The dude bulked out, man.
Like big time.
Not like It's not like the dude from Twilight. He's not like
Well, but, okay, because me and Victor were just.
Chest or no shit like that.
But I mean, I just saw him in Tenet.
Yeah, it's not like they're putting a bat costume on a dude from Twilight.
I get it, but I just saw Tenet. Is he bigger than that? Because he's not that big in that.
I don't know. Probably when they. I think they. I don't know.
That movie was cool, but did you watch it? Did you watch Tenet? Dot.
Did like when he went from. Yeah, no, I haven't seen Tenet.
You haven't seen it, okay?
Was it the Machinist? Bale did. Man, how he lost all that weight.
Yeah. But no, was it the Machinist? It was the one where he was the boxer, I thought. Or not, he wasn't the boxer.
Maybe. I don't.
Like, he was the washed up boxer, and then his younger brother became a boxer or some shit, and he was like the fuck up, and he lost all the weight for that. Christian Bale.
Was like super frail.
Yeah, he got like super skinny to play the role.
Yeah, the Machinist.
Was it the Machinist?
Yeah, I don't remember what that movie was about, but
was it about boxing?
No,
it was like a clockmaker or some shit.
Yeah, he was like killing people or something.
Huh? Y'all don't remember the one where it's like his brother, his brother was a boxer? Oh, he wasn't
Irishman or something. I don't know.
He wasn't that skinny. Holy shit! Ooh, he looks fucking nasty.
For real, for the Machinist, he got gross. Yeah, he got gross skinny.
Yeah. Dedication, man. Dedication, bro.
Dedication.
He's a lot older than I always think he is. Because like American Psycho, how long ago was that? That was a long fucking time ago, right? And
I never saw that movie.
Yeah.
It's all right. Like people love it. You know what I watched the other day was Natural Born Killers.
Oh, I like that one.
I don't like it. Like I never did. I never thought it was that great. It's so weird and like hard to follow, and it's always like jumping. And
well, I think that was part of it. I think it was for the camera work also that it got its acclaim.
No offense to that actress, I've never been a fan of hers. Like, there's nothing that she's been in where I've been like, oh, that's so fucking amazing. Like, she's all right. I'm not a huge fan. Like, I like him.
I'm a Smoking Aces fan. I like that film.
Smoking Aces, really? I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong. It's not a bad movie. I don't want that to come off like I thought it was bad. It's not like one I would throw out.
It's not like a great film. It was actually pretty cool.
It was good. Yeah, and it had a bunch of great actors in it. That was the crazy thing for like that movie. Like, I don't know. It seems surprising to me that many people came out to make that movie, but it made it good that there was that many good actors in it. It was crazy. Smoking Aces.
But the kid though, the fucking karate, the kid with the was the best part in the film.
Common was in it.
Yeah, that was.
And the dude, Ari Gold from fucking. What was that TV show? Entourage. He's my favorite person in that show. The show was all right. He was fucking great. I love that role. That character was fucking awesome. He's so funny.
Vince, you got to see Vince in a show called.
Is it The Game?
It was a TV.
Oh, is it a TV show or a movie?
No, it was a film. It was a movie called Adventures of Power.
Oh, have y'all seen that
comedy?
The one that's out on Hulu right now. It's like the Something Games, and it's like a bunch of friends that like get together every year to like do some like.
I saw that one.
Yeah. It was Buddy
Games.
Yeah, Buddy Games. It was a little out there. Like it was not out there. It was just gross. It was really gross.
Yeah, it was kind of gross.
It was really gross. I mean, it's not like it set the bar for it or anything. There's plenty of movies out there that are grosser, but it was like, the dude gets shot in the nuts and loses his nuts, and they like end up drinking that dude's cum in their fucking drinks, and like, it's just like a lot of shit that you're like, oh, I could have done without that. I would have liked the movie more if that hadn't been in it. I like that guy though. He was the dude's it's the soldier from the original Terminator movie. The main soldier, the white dude. It's like him and Tyrese. You following me? I know you watched the first Transformer movies. You love that shit.
Terminator.
Oh, you said I thought you said.
Did I say Terminator?
Terminator.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah. I was like, why does he not know what I'm talking about? Yeah, okay. I love that dude.
I'm like rewinding and fast forward and Terminator.
You don't remember Tyrese and Terminator, dude? What the fuck?
I'm like, the heck?
That
Apollo
guy-
You know
Creed?
what? You know what
like
it was? In his role, he just had the robot, like he didn't have the skin, so it was hard to tell him apart from the other robots. He was just
I'm like, that
mechanical,
that
and he
was
didn't
Carl
talk.
Weathers. What is it was called something? That was like Tyrese. No, that was Apollo Creed or
Yeah,
something.
he was one of the Terminators that didn't have the ecto part, and he didn't have any
Yeah.
lines, so it's really hard to notice him from the other ones.
Ah.
In reality, he was the baby that the lady was carrying.
You're right. Yeah, the guy
He was
from
the understanding of the Terminator.
yeah, the Transformer guy. He was on Las Vegas, that show Las
Yeah, I
Vegas
know you're talking about. I
forever.
just don't know his name.
Yeah, I like
And
that guy.
I love that guy, and he isn't in a lot of shit. Like he doesn't do a lot. I've
get
always
a lot
thought
of
he was
parts.
good. He looks a lot like that guy from. We're gonna have to actually do the actual movie here in just a second. The guy from
Yeah, we fell apart completely.
who's that? There's another guy that
Yeah.
looks like, I always get him confused. It's the he was in what was he in? He was in the Die Hard 4 movie. He was the bad guy in the Die Hard 4 movie.
And you're pulling it out now. I don't know.
Yeah, remember the one where they take over the city like with computers and they like
It's like
program
that black
everything?
guy from the first one. He's awesome.
Black guy. Oh yeah. The
That guy, he's
driver,
like,
the limo driver.
"I'm the sinner."
Yeah, he's what's his name? Hold on, I'm gonna get it. He had his own show for a long time where he was like a sheriff, and the bad guy was the dude from Sons of Anarchy,
Oh, it's Live Free or Die Hard.
probably. Yeah, I think the fourth one. No, maybe it's the third one.
It may be the third one.
No. The third one's the one with Samuel L. Jackson, right?
Yes, second one's on an airplane. Third one, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, it's okay. His name is Timothy Oliphant.
Oh yeah, I like that guy.
Tell
too.
me he
He's
doesn't
alright.
look like the guy we were just talking about, right? Doesn't he look like? Don't they look a
That
lot
guy's
alike?
pretty good.
Okay, they look a lot alike, right?
Yeah, they do. They do.
He's really good too. Justified. That was a good one.
I never saw that one.
Oh, you should watch it because it's like 7 seasons and it's good. Like, you know what I mean? I'm always looking for something that'll like give me a lot of shit to watch when I don't have something to watch, you know?
You know, I started watching again. Fringe. I like.
Oh,
Fringe.
he was. I don't think I haven't seen that one. He was
You ever
also.
seen Fringe? Fringe is more like scientific, sci-fi kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, I think I know it. I just haven't watched it.
It's good. I like it.
He was also the sheriff in Deadwood.
Okay, the other guy's name is Josh Duhamel. Damel.
The other actor that we were talking about.
D-U-H-A-M-E-L.
You know what's weird is, like when I've been looking for shit to watch, I've looked for Las Vegas. It's like impossible. Like you can't. I don't even think I found a place where you can buy it online.
Really?
Like it's like it doesn't exist. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can buy it. But I've definitely know where you can. You know that it's like Hulu or Netflix or none of that shit has it on there, not for free. I mean, it was a decent show, right? Like, am I wrong? Was it that bad?
Yeah. No, I liked it. It had that chick in it. She was pretty hot.
Yeah. Which one are you talking about? Because they were all kind of hot, but there was one that was really well. I'm sure that everybody says that in somebody different.
Vanessa Marcel.
Yeah, I completely agree. She was so hot. I think they were, but like, I'm not wrong. They were all like hot, just depending on what kind of taste you have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. She was super hot.
Yeah, you have to buy it on Amazon.
There you go. And I'm not gonna do that because it was not
crap,
that
maybe
good.
not. It's a
No?
DVD.
There you go. I'm not wrong. Where Dot, you coming back? Oh, he has to go at about 6. All right, so Coming to America, what'd you think?
Man, I liked it, but it was definitely made for our generation.
Our generation or millennials?
No, our generation.
You think so?
I think so. I think
I
it had some parts that like kind of like I guess we're supposed to kind of like uh entice millennials to be a part of the fun, but it was just like cameos from the original ones and everything. It was just like if you saw the first one, it was like a family reunion.
yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, all the stuff about like I need a son, but the daughter wants to, why can't the daughter take over just because she's a girl? Which, I mean, of course is true, right? But it
Yeah.
seemed like that was all very much intended to, bring in the millennial generation of like, even in a country that's not our country, how dare they not have the same moral belief system that we do? You know what I mean? And I mean, of course, ideally, I think I have those beliefs too. So that's how I would want everybody to have those advantages. But I mean, like, they're in some small little country in Africa, and even there, it's important that we make sure that they live to our moral, you know, beliefs and
Right, but
standards.
those are also still dated ideals also.
I
You know what I mean?
agree. I agree. I mean, look, nowhere ideally should women not have the same advantages that men do. I completely agree with that. You and I are both from the United States. So, and we're relatively smart, intelligent people. So it's not hard for us to come to that conclusion, right? But there are countries where, unfortunately, right, people are grown up not being taught these more open, better viewpoints that you and I have been taught to understand, right?
Sure, sure.
And and
Wesley
and
Snipes was awesome though.
yeah, he was
I love Wesley
hilarious.
Snipes.
He was hilarious.
Where they should have Samuel Jackson play Batman. That's my vote.
Nice.
I've always said that.
I mean,
I'm Batman,
Samuel
motherfucker.
Jackson is Batman.
it's not
Where
like
the
it's Santa
drugs,
Claus.
motherfucker?
Why can't a black dude play Batman? I'm down with that.
You know they're gonna have a black Superman.
More power. I'm down with that too.
I want to see it.
Yeah. None of those.
Well, there's a lot of people that his planet had all different races of people
Good.
per se, and
I know we had.
that's that's
I don't think it was
their
one we.
symbol
It
or
obviously
something.
wasn't one we broadcasted because it
Like
was a long
Green
time ago.
Lantern.
But remember, we had this talk about why isn't there a black Santa, and I made the point that, like, for a large part of the population, he's a real person. And so if all of a sudden he just changed ethnic persuasion, like, we have a large group of young people who would either need a whole lot of explanation or who we kind of ruin, the magic of Christmas for
But
earlier
come
than we
on
needed
now.
to.
He's a magical being who magically visits everybody. He can
So you think he
magically
just
be black.
magically changes?
That's right. He can magic. He can. That's any different than shrinking to a size of a nut and going up and down the chimney?
Yeah, I guess so. You're right. To me, like, it's not important that every single, like, yes, like Batman, Superman, like, do it, right? When there isn't any, harm in doing it, do it. Change it up, all the, but it doesn't, it's not like it has every single part in everything in order for us to all be equal has to been played by every single, you know what I mean? Like, it's just fucking let Santa be Santa. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many other things that there is no issue with changing up and should be done, and we should see it and let's do it. It doesn't have to be everything. You know what I mean? Like,
You are absolutely right. It doesn't have to be everything. I just don't see it as a terribly big concern to do it to Santa.
you might be, I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. And okay, look, for 5 and 6 year olds, you're definitely right. A 5 or 6 year old, it's like, why is he black all of a sudden? Because he changes to give everybody representation, and they go, oh, okay, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, but like when you have like a 9 or a 10 year old that you're still trying to hold on to the fantasy, right? Like, then I don't know if it's as easy to just be like that and then be like, oh, okay, yeah.
Well, the whole story is actually a fake story anyway.
Of
So
course it is. Of course it. Look, if that's my point. Like Superman and Batman, everybody knows it's fake, right? But what I'm saying is was like as I'm having this conversation, I have to whisper because there are people in my house that don't know that. You see what I'm saying? And they're
That
old
ain't
enough
real.
that they're old enough that with a big change up like that, like I don't know that I could just easily be like, because of magic, they would say okay, but I don't think they'd really believe me when I said it. They'd be like, "Yeah, I knew he was fake." You know what I mean? Like that's a like I'm 9. That's a fucking step too far, Dad. You know, like I'm not buying this shit anymore. And why do that? Like it's not necessary. Like there's so many other things that we could do that with to make that point that we don't have to fuck with that. You know.
Well, it's easy
If
for you to say. I mean,
but here's the thing: if it was vice versa, I wouldn't be saying, "When is it our turn?" You know what I mean? Like, like if he'd been black the whole time, say la vie. I don't have any problem with Santa Claus being black, like not in the slightest bit. If we could like somehow change it to where only people being born tomorrow know about it and they can grow up with it like that, again, let's do it. I'm down. You know what I mean? Like it's a little bit harder with that one character than with almost anything else that you could do it with. That it's like, can't that one thing? Can we just leave it alone and let?
like not doing it just so you don't have to have an uncomfortable conversation.
But not the wrong kind of uncomfortables. There's uncomfortable conversations that are really important to have. One where it takes the fantasy away and makes it not real anymore is not one of the, like you don't have to have that conversation yet. Why force it on people?
It's just not that big a jump. Santa Claus is a spirit. Santa Claus is magical.
But he's not he's not a spirit in my house.
How does he get up and down the hill, up and down the
He has magic. There's I don't know that having magic and being a spirit are necessarily the same.
He's a conjurer of the dark arts.
Yeah, exactly. Right. He's part of that new witchcraft.
It's a fucking jinn.
Yeah, he's a fucking witch.
But that's what I'm saying. It's somebody. Okay, fine.
He's going to eat your legs from under your bed.
Well, why? Okay, so there's important conversation. If he is a magical being, like, and I'm trying to teach my kids that race don't matter, why did he need to switch races to begin with? Like, isn't
so that black people don't shoot him when they come into his house?
That's definitely
comes out of the chimney.
Yeah, that's definitely the conversation. That's the conversation I want to have with my 7-year-old. Is that we don't want people shooting Santa by accident, and then they can just worry every year if he's gonna
bang, get motherfucker.
Their presents before Santa gets shot because he didn't change into the right ethnic group before he came down the chimney.
That's right. That's what I'm saying right there.
Oh yeah.
Just saying, like, you're gonna like go start another civilization somewhere and there you want to make him black. I'm like, do that shit up. Like because there isn't any, other than that, there's no reason. I mean, I totally agree. There's no reason.
I think what we do, black people tell their kids early
how he got up and down a chimney, how he got into a house that doesn't have chimneys. How he
do you want me to just say he's got blackface on from the coals of coming down the chimney? I don't think that's a good conversation.
How he's gone around the world in one night, how he gets presents for every single person, every single child in the world. I mean, this should be freaking like a small little card trick to him.
I think with the right kid it is, and not with every kid.
What black people do is let the child know, like, hey, look here, I don't care what your little friends in school told you. I had to work extra hours. I'm Santa. These ain't no mother.
Or if in your household, Santa's black, more power to you, right? Like if
it's like Jesus from Good Times.
Even Jesus, like even that one, I know people are going to get upset about it, but the truth of the matter is nothing really changes about Jesus, you know what I mean, based on the color of his skin, and it would be more accurate, right? change Jesus. He should have dark complexion. You read the Bible, he
And
should
he
have
was
dark
black.
complexion.
Yeah, he was black.
And it doesn't take away from what he did or what he was capable of doing. You know what I mean? Like that makes perfect sense to me. Change Jesus all you want to.
So Jesus is okay, but Santa's where you draw the line.
Yeah.
And Batman.
No, I'm saying do a Batman, make him black. I think that's a brilliant idea.
Not just black. Samuel Jackson.
Samuel Jackson. I think young Samuel could pull it off. I don't know about.
Sorry,
no, old. No, this Samuel.
He's kind of old now.
I was about to say he can be
like I could see.
He can be the butler.
Yeah, I could see.
He don't even have a mask on. He don't even have a mask on.
Pulp Fiction. Samuel Jackson. Like hell yeah.
No, this Samuel. No
why
mask.
Am I cleaning
just a
up
Batman T-shirt.
And why the hell am I cleaning up all the brain, motherfucker? That
Batman
Samuel
T-shirt.
Jackson could make a badass Batman.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You saw what he did with Morpheus, Lawrence Fishburne, and that was.
Yeah, I don't know if I could see. I mean, he was badass in Matrix, but I don't know if I could see him as Batman. And I like him, but he's definitely too old now.
Yeah.
I watched the new release of the I'm never gonna remember that shit.
Justice League.
Yeah. It was better. It still wasn't the great, like it still wasn't as good as I would have hoped.
Is it a film or is it a series?
It's a film.
The Justice League you talk about? Okay,
it's a film. Like it's broken. It's technically broken into episodes, but like if you watch it, it just goes, episode 2 or something. Like it just plays like a movie, and then you get these little like clips that come up and say section 4 or whatever. I can't remember exactly what they call it, but I mean it's a fucking really long movie is what it is. It's the same movie, a lot longer with more shit in it, and it is different. It's different. Like the music that they use and like the scenes that they put into it that weren't into it before, it gives it a different feel. It really does.
Yeah, it does.
It's like a darker feeling to it, and that like the ending is a lot different. Like, because am I wrong? In the first one, the dude with the horns was the bad guy, right?
Right, he was the bad guy. Now it's a bigger bad.
Now there's a bigger bad guy. It was better, and it was worth watching, but it is really long.
Right.
So you got to have some time to watch it. And it's not like it's 100 times better. It's it's better. I liked it. Like I would have preferred this one being the one that was released, but at the same time, it's not like I'm like, oh, this is right up there with Marvel shit. You know what I mean? Like it's still, to me, subpar compared to what the standard Marvel sets for superhero movies. Especially like the Avengers and shit. I mean, that's just good.
Yeah, Marvel Cinematic Universe, their productions is going to be different. It's going to be different. Not that it's better, it's going to be different.
Well, I mean,
But
I mean,
Batman alone is carry DC. Batman and Superman alone is carry DC.
And they are great. Well, some of them are really great movies. I mean, Batman and Superman have put out some really good movies. They put out some junky ones, but they've also put out some really, really good ones. DC's put out like some junky Hulk movies. I'm not Marvel's put out some jinky Hulk movies, but like the majority of Marvel movies, like for all the characters, are like pretty badass fucking. They don't put out a lot of junk.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, Fantastic Four. And what? Okay, am I wrong in the fact that I see Green Lantern in both of them?
Yeah. Green Lantern makes an appearance in both of them. They're just different Green Lanterns.
Yeah, but like the end of the last Avengers, there's like Green Lantern people.
Oh shit! No, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the Marvel movies.
I thought
Yeah.
Or DC. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about DC movies. Green Lantern's a DC character.
That's what I thought, but maybe I'm wrong. But in the last Avengers movie, like when they all come back to life and they're fighting the dude for the last time, right? Yeah. And it's like all the fucking Marvel superheroes are like coming at him,
Yeah.
They got all
right.
like Defenders of the Galaxy, all the motherfuckers are there, right?
You see a Green Lantern?
Maybe not. I thought so. No, maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm remembering the DC movie and
Yeah, they'd be in trouble if they did.
Okay, I
They
believe
had Howard the Duck.
Yeah, what?
I believe you.
Yeah, Howard the Duck came to wreck
So I was like,
Thanos.
how are they in both universes? I didn't think anybody was in both universes.
There's crossovers. The Marvel artists have also been DC. There's like tons of different crossovers
Well, I thought
and mashups with Marvel. Marvel did a Transformers series in the comics too.
I thought there wasn't like Batman and Superman sometimes in Marvel shit. No, I thought they were like the two that crossed over or something. I never read the comics. I'll be honest. I love the movies. I wasn't a comic book person.
There are crossovers where Marvel and DC characters have gone and fought each other and stuff like that, but it's been a contracted thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the end of the. But okay, let me ask you this: in the first version of this movie, when it showed everybody fighting, did it show Green Lantern dudes in that scene in the first version of the movie?
Which one are we talking about? Justice League?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of then.
Yeah.
Because they both kind of have that scene where it's like a bunch of motherfuckers going after the bad guy, and you see like all the different amazing kinds of people getting ready to fight him. And maybe I just thought I transcribed that to the Avengers scene. The Green Lantern dude. Anyways, it was good though. And I don't know what that has to do with Coming to America, but it was good. It wasn't obviously nearly as good as the first one. It was funny.
Battle of New York is what it was.
I thought that well, and to be fair, like I don't think they could have made, they'd have gotten canceled off the fucking screen if they'd like made like I don't know, like a perfect sequel to that movie would not have been accepted in today's. I don't think the first one would have been accepted in today's audiences, right? So if they'd like made a true sequel to who that guy would have been, I don't think nobody would have watched it. So I get why they made the change ups, but it made it a little bit sad. It just made me feel like Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall were just like old. And I've never really thought of Eddie. I mean, I know he is, but he's always like in good fighting shape. You know what I mean? Like
he was not in shape for that movie.
No, he's not. Not really.
But he had a good gut.
Well, he got older. I mean,
but I'm saying, like, what was the last movie he made before that one?
Yeah, he was in better shape than the last.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he always seems to be in good shape. You know what I mean? Like that. Remember that movie where he can't talk because the leaves are falling off? Like, he was in great shape in that movie. That was only a few years ago.
That was a lot longer ago than I thought. But he has always been in pretty good shape. This was the kind of most out of shape I've seen him in a movie.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I guess it was trying to show that, like, the next generation kind of thing, having to come up.
Yeah, maybe they did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Yeah, to show age and that he's older. Dad bod.
Yeah.
Maybe so. It was hard to see though.
Yeah, you could Coming to America wouldn't survive as a new release film in this day and age.
Yeah, so many movies
Especially,
wouldn't. But I mean, like that's the way it should be. We're supposed to get better as people, like.
They actually, I think he talked about how they had him he had to put someone non-black in the film because all black cats wouldn't sell. So that's why he put Louis Anderson in the original.
Oh, in the original one?
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, really, an all black cast wouldn't sell today. I mean, I think people love that
no,
shit.
they're back then.
Yeah, back then. Yeah.
That's why Louis Anderson, because Louis was his boy.
Oh, he wasn't that big in Dolomite. He was in pretty good shape for Dolomite.
Yeah, he was in pretty good shape in Dolomite.
That was.
Yeah, he killed that.
That was great. That's good. Eddie Murphy's just great. I grew up on Eddie.
Eddie's
so awesome.
He just shouldn't do family movies.
Huh?
He just should stay away from family movies.
Dr. Dolittle was funny.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, not Eddie Murphy
For
funny,
kids.
but like if you just look at it as like a kid's movie, it's a good movie.
It's like Bob Saget in Full House. Then
Yeah.
you hear his comedy special.
Right.
And he's
I
like,
mean, he's not Eddie Murphy by any stretch, but it was not a
Yeah.
bad movie.
fuck no. Yeah, no, nowhere near. Nowhere near.
Yeah. And what the Crumps?
Boo this man.
Who is it?
Boo this man.
Oh, he's great in Shrek.
Yeah.
Donkey?
He was terrible in Shrek though.
What? He's hilarious as Donkey.
It's a
I know, but he
cartoon.
looked terrible in Shrek.
Oh, he looked. Yeah. Yeah, he was way he looked like an ass in that movie.
He looked, he looked like a donkey.
Yeah.
An
An ass.
himself.
Yeah, come on. That was perfect. It's the kind of jokes I make around here that my kids think are horrible. And I'm like, what? That's fucking brilliant. You wouldn't have come up with that shit.
Oh.
I love my kids, but they're at that age where they, like they laugh at funny shit, but they haven't quite got the you know what I mean? Like when they make a joke, you're always like, oh yeah, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
They're growing up.
yeah, no, I mean, I love them, and they're just at that age. Like every kid doesn't understand comedy. You know what I mean? Like you have to get to a certain age where you get the nuance of it, right? It's comedy's complicated, and they just haven't gotten there yet. I'm not, they shouldn't have. They're not at an age where they should have. But you're like, oh, that's hilarious.
All right, here's a question about the Coming to America.
Yeah.
Do you think they went
Yeah.
like too far on the like Wesley Snipes country part of it, where they were like having kids like playing with machine guns and all that crap and the grenades and everything? I mean, do you think that was a step too far?
I don't.
No, because that's you ever seen people in Somalia
Right.
and
That's
real
what
kids, real grenades, and real AKs.
right. That was the
No,
opposite.
that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying is that's a reality. Is that a reality
Yeah, just
that you shouldn't necessarily be making fun of?
I don't think
we
so.
don't
Or
care.
making
That
light
shit's
of?
funny. Yeah, we can make light of it. Fuck yeah. You
don't
got
think-
you got to see the you got to see the comedy and tragedy.
Right. I don't think
Right.
that's making light of it. Right. I think that's laughing.
Yeah, it
at-
doesn't make
It's like it's laughing at painful shit because it makes it easier to
Right.
deal with painful shit, which we've for a long time never had a problem with. But to your point, it wouldn't surprise me that people would these days. But we used to make fun of it. So because it's like we were making fun of it and laughing about it as more of like a healing thing as opposed to like it is actually a funny thing, and people used to appreciate the nuance of that. And
Yeah, 'cause,
now
like, after I saw that movie, I ended up going and I saw the Nicolas Cage movie. What is it, God of War or something like that?
yeah,
Is it Lord of War?
yeah, because it's Warlord, but they say it
Yeah.
Lord
So
of
I
War.
watched that. And he
Great
goes to
movie.
that other country, and man,
Yeah,
crazy crap is going on
Yeah.
there.
that's
know what
such
I
a good
mean?
movie.
It's a
I
great
love
movie.
that movie. It's hard to watch, but it's so good.
It's hard to watch.
Yeah, it really
But that's
is.
what I'm saying. Something like that heavy, that serious, and then flipping it on his head. I mean, I understand comedy. I do, but is it like making fun of those kids? Like exactly what they talked about in Coming to America. That one kid makes the story about, or tries to make a joke about the kids that can't eat in Africa, and they're have the big stomachs and trying to feeding them or whatever. You know what I'm talking about, right? When they're in the barber shop and they're like, whoa.
Oh, right.
Too far. That's too far.
Right. Look, I have a unique. I recognize that I have a unique opinion in this, and not everybody agrees with me. But I love comedy, and I appreciate the nuance of it, and I get sometimes comedians make jokes where the way they tell it you could easily not recognize the fact that they don't think it's wrong. You know what I mean? But that's comedy, right? And appreciate that. I mean, I imagine maybe there are some just assholes out there that, you know, think fucked up shit is funny. But for the most part, even when it doesn't seem like they're pointing out how fucked up something is, like the point of telling the joke is to bring attention to the thing that they're talking about. Very rarely is it not something that they have a problem with, right? But they're telling a joke. Like that's what they do. They're comedians, right? It's it's supposed to be funny. It has to be funny because that's the point, right? And I think there is something extremely cathartic about laughing at the horriblenesses of the world. And it doesn't mean they're not horrible or that anybody telling that joke or laughing at that joke isn't completely appreciative of how horrible things are. You see this all the time nowadays, especially where people like feel like even in a really obvious situation, the fact that they're the only person pointing out the obvious thing in their minds, they're the only person who realized it. And it's like, we all realized it, you moron. You know, it's just so obvious. Nobody had to talk about it. It doesn't make you special. You know what I mean? Like you're just the only idiot who thinks somebody needed to point that out. Right. Comedy is, I think if it's funny, you can make a joke about anything. I've always felt that way. If it's not funny, that's the problem, right? Like if you're going to go out there on the razor's edge, you better get the laugh because otherwise it's not cool. Like if you make the joke and it's not funny, and I know it's ridiculous to think that even though the person's intention is to make you laugh, that what decides whether what they said was really fucked up or a joke is whether people laugh or not. But in my opinion, if people laugh, it's a fucking joke and you need to get over it. You know what I mean? Like if it's funny, it's funny. And I think most people, whether they admit it or not, get a cathartic feeling from laughing at horrible shit. And it doesn't make it any less horrible. It just makes it easier to deal with the avalanche of shit we have to fucking deal with every day, right? Like it just makes life a little bit easier to laugh at the insanity of everything, right? It doesn't make it any less insane. It just makes it easier to swallow. So no, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I would not, to your point, be surprised if a lot of people do, because it is crazy and it is fucked up. But, you know, the beauty of comedy has always been being able to point out the kind of sick humor and fucked up shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So it is funny. I mean,
I love Wesley Snipes, man. When
he's fucking hilarious.
When he came in, when they were all strutting and everything. Oh, oh my gosh.
Wesley Snipes is great. I've always liked Wesley Snipes. Why is it that when you have tax issues, you have to make bad movies? Like, you know, like I don't mind. Make low budget, you know, you got to make a ton of movies because you got to pay some bills, but you can make decent low budget movies. Like they don't have to be shit. Like why is it like when you have tax problems, do people in the movie industry just go, oh, we don't have to pay that motherfucker a lot of money for good movies anymore. We could just make him do a bunch of shit for really cheap. Is there like a cabal that takes advantage of people that have tax problems? Why is it that like, you would think if you're some major awesome actor that everybody loves and you have tax problems, you could just go bang out a couple of box office hits and pay some taxes back, right? Instead, every time they end up having to do all the shitty movies. Like it's like a rule in Hollywood. If you stop paying taxes, you're required to do shitty movies for the rest of your life, no matter how good of an actor you might still be. Wesley Snipes, I've never seen him fall off. He's always been as good as he's always been.
Yeah, I liked him always. I've always liked him.
I to be fair, like compared to other, but like I don't think he's a Denzel. Like Denzel Washington has some more depth.
He has his niche.
Yeah, but yes, he's a badass, and he's good at it and believable. And Dolomite, he was amazing, and that's not even his niche.
Yeah. Yeah,
he was great in that movie.
Yeah, I love Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes is great, man.
They're doing a new Blade's coming out.
New Jack City.
Oh yeah.
They're doing a New Jack City.
No,
or you just you're just saying he was badass. He was badass in New Jack City. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean,
never be. No, they can't do New Jack City.
No, not now. No.
There's so
Oh,
many
have you seen?
politically incorrect.
Have you watched that series Snow?
These little soft motherfuckers. I have not watched that.
No, that's true.
Okay.
Have y'all seen Snow
I have not.
on FX?
No,
I think it's FX. A&E,
No.
AMC.
no, I watched Walking
It's
Dead.
it's the whole story. Like it tells the story of the CIA, funneling crack into California, and like,
Rick Ross.
yeah, right. The
Pretty much Cali and Florida
right,
is
right. This is the California
It's-
side of it, and it's like the story is like the DEA agent, the main drug dealer in California, and like, I mean, I don't know how much of it's accurate, right? But that's the story.
probably a
Well,
lot of it's accurate.
I'm sure a lot of it isn't as well, but obviously, I mean, the fact that they brought in drugs to make money, to buy guns, to send to the Contra soldier. I mean, all that's
Yeah.
true. We know that's true. I mean,
Right,
nobody's even arguing
right.
it anymore. But it's a
The
fucking
American
good
way,
show,
baby.
though. Yeah, it's a good fucking show, dude. Like, y'all should check it out. It's fucking badass. It's on Hulu, and it's like, I think we're in like the fourth season. Just like you're like 4 episodes into the fourth season, so there's a decent amount of episodes. The other one I started watching again is Mayans. It's like the Mexican spinoff of Sons of Anarchy.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
It's good, dude. I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised. Sons of Anarchy was fucking amazing, but
Wait, there was an actual gang, motorcycle gang called the Mayans, though, in Sons of Anarchy, wasn't there?
Yeah.
yeah,
There is.
Yeah. So it's their story.
I'm sure partially right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure, I don't know how much of it is accurate to the Mayan story, but like the Mayans were a gang that like had a lot of.
Is it
No, I'm talking about not in
Snowfall?
real life. I'm
Is
talking
the name
about
of the thing
in
called Snowfall?
Sons of Anarchy.
Snowfall, that's what it is. It's Snowfall.
Okay, because I couldn't find snow under.
Wait, is it Snowfall?
Yeah, probably a Snowfall.
I thought it was just Snow, but maybe. Let's see. Yeah, Snowfall. Yeah, that's it. It's good. Check that out. And the Mayans one, it's good. Like the Mayans motorcycle gang like plays a huge part in the Sons of Anarchy thing. And so when they ended that, like it's just like the main couple of characters that interact with the Sons of Anarchy, like you follow them into their world.
Right. That's
and
dope.
and it's I mean they did a really good job. I mean it's good. It's really good. Like I really like it. And it's like I think I don't want to get called out here, but like if you're Hispanic, I imagine you. I mean, you know what I mean. Like it has a lot of callback to Hispanic culture and why you know what I mean. Like so, I think if that's who you are, you get a lot out of it. You know what I mean. Like it's not just a motorcycle gang that happens to be Mexican. You know what I mean. Like it touches on a lot of fucking Mexican American issues and non-Mexican American issues and like it's not just a stupid thing about motorcycles, you know what I mean? It's good.
Right.
It's deep. Deep. It goes deep. No, but it's and it's entertaining, They like have to deal like they work with the cartels and all that, go back and forth across the border. And,
hey, I know we gotta close soon. You wanna pick a movie?
Or TV show, yeah. What do y'all want to do?
For next week?
Yeah.
Dude, I want to see that stupid movie that you were talking about earlier with Val Kilmer.
Tombstone?
No, that's a great one.
Oh,
the other one.
The other one I was talking about that we never came up with the name for.
I found it somewhere, but now
something Walker, right?
Not
Texas
at all.
Ranger.
Not at all. I had found it too. Let me see. Let me get to it. Because it was hard because the name don't mean nothing.
I got it. Hold on. It is. Wow, I can't believe it's so far down the list. Where is this motherfucker? Thunderheart.
Thunderheart. That's right.
No, wait. No.
That's the one.
Wait, is that it?
That's it.
The picture does not do it value.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was not. It
Yeah,
was
that's
hard
it.
to find.
It's like a dude on a motorcycle behind him. I'm like, there's nothing about. Doesn't have anything to do with motorcycles.
Yeah, no,
That's
you're
it. Thunderheart.
absolutely right.
It's good.
Sounds
Check
good.
it out. Yeah, we can do that one. I think y'all will like it. Have you wait? Is it possible to watch?
Well, that's a good point. Let's do that.
No, definitely not trying to make anybody go out and buy a movie from 40 years ago.
Well, that's not.
I don't see it. I mean, you can buy it for $4 on Apple, which means I imagine you can buy it for $4 on Prime.
It's free on Pluto.
Yeah, who's got that? I saw that too, but I guess there's nobody. $3.99. Yeah, I mean it would cost you. That's an
$2.99 on
HD.
Voodoo.
Yeah, if you buy it in SD, it's $2.99.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Are we gonna do that or not? I'm not trying to
Fine.
force anybody to buy a movie if they don't want to.
I watch all my shit streamed, so
Oh, you're good.
Yeah,
You
I
cool,
see shit
Victor?
free anyway.
Yeah, cool.
All right, let's do it. Thunderheart. I think you'll like it. It's good.
Word.
All right, well, let's wrap this up then. That was completely off the rails episode.
It was a good one though. It was a good episode.
It was. I mean,
It
you know,
doesn't
look,
have to be always on the rail, and that's.
I
the thing.
agree. I mean, the main point of the show is that people can debate passionately and still be friends. I think that's about as good of an example as you're ever going to get of that, because we were all pretty pissed off about that shit. And while I'm never going to talk to Victor again, me and Daughters, no, I'm just kidding.
Well, it's because you don't pay. Because you don't pay
over
right.
me again.
Yeah.
You
What'd you say, Dad?
It's because you don't pay Victor the way you need to pay him.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Hey, I'm telling you, as soon as somebody starts paying me, I'm going to start paying you guys, I promise.
Adam with the Birdman hands.
Oh, hey, real quick before we go, have y'all seen that shit about Snoop Dogg? I saw it on.
That's my guy.
No, it's not bad. I saw it on Facebook, but it was just like this long. It was like this long video where he like shows some of his videos, but he like talks about like his beef with Suge Knight and how they cleared that shit up, and he like talks about like when he went to No Limit and like how like I mean he is on Master P's dick. Now,
Everybody knows the story.
That sounds bad, but I mean he's got love for Master P. Like he is like that dude took care of him, taught him how to become a boss, and like it was pretty cool.
Yeah, P did that for a lot of people, man.
That's what they're saying, is that like essentially he'd bring them on and make a little money out of them, but then like teach them how to do it on their own and then be totally cool when they wanted to leave to go do that.
Yep.
Which is really cool.
Start your own brand, sell your own clothes.
Right. And he's saying,
was on something else.
I think that says some shit though, because it's not like he was the first dude Snoop knew that could have done that. You know what I mean? Like Shook could have taught him some shit. Drake could have taught him some shit. You know what I mean? And Master P is somebody who probably didn't owe Snoop shit and was the guy who like sat him down and like taught him the formula. You know what I mean? I think that's pretty cool. Says a lot about the dude.
Put him up on game.
Yeah, for real. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's pretty cool. All right, guys.
I'm familiar with it.
I'm out.
Adios, brothers.
Peace.
Y'all take care.
Peace.
Later.